back, and the market is back, and everything is to the upside. You get a hotter than expected inflation number, which these guys already went over this morning, and you saw it. The market is the Nasdaq is exactly green, like 0.02% after being down. I mean, it was over 1 point down. I don't remember exactly percentage-wise how low we got, but it was, yeah, about 1% to the downside. You get a big, massive reversal in just about everything. I mean, not everything is strong, but most things are strong. Energy taking a little bit on the chin. We've had some headlines as well, some potential resolution in Ukraine, which would be a good thing. Obviously, that might not be the best for oil and certain defense names.
A resolution in the war is bad for the markets. I mean,
it depends on the stocks, not all stocks.
No, but for the market, I'm saying in general, because I remember when they announced that war, the market like rallied for a while. It seems like it's like, I don't know.
I don't like Lockheed on that news.
No. I think it's great. I mean, we'd rather have,
well, of course,
absolutely no turmoil whatsoever. I don't know. We're $5. The trades that we actually have at the bottom are totaling about $12 in the money. Like, we still have the Tesla long, and, we put out an offer there. We went to the gym. We got 341s. And we actually didn't have any offers until 344. Those started filling. Then I came back and started taking more out here. My stop was actually a break at 342. That didn't happen. That was pretty lucky. We're using the 200 period moving average. But I mean, I was watching the midday show, and it's like they had such great talk and such great commentary, and I didn't even really they were talking about trades. They were trading a bunch of different ones. And then I looked down and they didn't have any positions, and I was thinking to myself, you don't need to have positions. If there's nothing happening, you don't need to do anything. And I was just going to say, you guys are watching the show not necessarily for these winning trades. I mean, as we go, I'm always saying green or red on the day, but it doesn't matter if you're green or red on the day. Just these are the trades that we have on board, and this is what we're doing. And so whether or not you have these trades, whether or not you're short Tesla, you can win on everything. For me to sit here and say, can you take a look at this? It's great that it's happening. And it's great that we have these trades. And at the end of the day, I'm trying to prove a point that we can make money sitting here being traders. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter if Neil's green or red. It doesn't matter if I'm green or red. It just matters that we're all here. We're giving some trade ideas. And if you take the ones that we take, hopefully they work out for you. And if they don't, they don't. I never even see, Neil, I'm the only one mentioning green or reds on days. People in the chat, they just love what we're doing. And that's all that matters. So if you want to know if we're green or red, you can ask us. We don't even display it, but these are the trades that we're in. And if you want to talk to me, this is Apple, $5 in the money, right? Same trade that we've had all day, still going, small percentage. Who cares how many shares I have left? Lyft, 2 for 2. SMCI, right? 3 for 3. I don't know why these charts are taking forever to load. TQs. We actually have a loss on the triple Qs. We talked about that. So that's an L. So that's 3 and 1. And then there's Tesla. So 4 and 1 today. Does it matter? No. Only matters to me. So that's part of what we're doing. You have to sit there and trade your own book, your own style, and hopefully turn out green. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Does it?
I care about one thing and one thing alone when I trade. I actually said this on the midday because my best stock was very close to my worst stock, and it was because I broke a rule today. And I had this conversation with Brenkels because he was like, this and that's been good. And I said, I hate it. The one thing I hate the most is if you make a decision and are rewarded for breaking a rule. And I violated a major rule on Intel today, like a really, really big rule on Intel today. And it could have been really bad. It wasn't, but it could have been really bad. So for me, this was dumb on Intel. Now, it's easy to say, well, Neil, you said two things this morning, prior high and 21. And that's true. And ultimately, those have been, I actually even tweeted, these are good prices to have traded at. But at 9:30 in the morning, when it's dropping like an absolute rock, sitting on the bid just because that's the price I liked and that's the price that worked before is a bad decision. And if it had bounced in the money, that would have been the end of the world. Because what would have happened is if it bounces, I then add to it again and then get a bigger stop out. Ultimately, it's going to end up working out. Just one note, a lot of times I would have trailed out of this position, but I'm letting it fly through the high because it broke a little bit of a trend line here, but I could draw this from the support and it hasn't broken that trend. So if I were to, here's another one for you. There. Just to give you an idea, let me just get rid of that trend line. I don't even know why. I'm not respecting it. This is the one I'm respecting on Intel. From low to higher low, 4 points it's held this trend. Simple. If it breaks a trend, I want to be out of it. I'm green because of Intel today. However, this would have been would have been a too big of a loss, and that's what you have to respect. And I know this too. We talk about this at 9:30. 9:30 wicks are different, especially at the open. No matter how much I like an idea, sometimes the best entry points are going to come a few minutes after that open if you're willing to be patient with it. So let's see what happens. Oh, yeah, Palantir. We're going to go to Sharif in a quick little second. But Palantir's starting to come back into prior highs. So 116, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times on Palantir. Okay, 5th time it broke, so technically it broke the 5th time. But support to resistance is a pretty easy concept. I was in it at 115.5. Got it up to 116 and then stopped out break even. But Palantir is up 3.5%. I don't know if this is probably a symbol we're going to talk about anyways, but if it's going to come into 116, I do like this higher low as well. So continue the trend to the upside, and we'll see what happens. Nick W, we'll talk about Peloton when we come back. That's actually an interesting stock. I looked at the chart of that, not today, but
wasn't it near
yesterday.
$10?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's go to Sharif because if.
Oh yeah, $10 was the top. Yeah, 10 to 10.
Yeah, you know what? It's so easy to get sidetracked on that because Peloton.
No, none of us get sidetracked around here.
Well, Peloton's up like 7 days in a row, taking the 50 period. This looks like it could be on the midst of a little bit of a squeeze, like a little top end breakout here to retest the high. But anyways, that's neither here nor there.
I do appreciate everybody in the chat. All right, what's up, Sharif?
Welcome, everyone, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. The big boys are ready, locked and loaded, ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get your tickers up on that board is to join Joe and I on the How to Trade show during the midday and get into the chat and vote for your favorite tickers every day. We'll throw a few polls up there during the show, but you got to be a subscriber to get into the chat to vote. So make sure you're liking, subscribing, and please share the stream with someone you think may benefit from it. Here is a look at the triple Qs. All the 4 major averages right now, they're all red. The NQ faring the best out of the bunch, barely red. We're down 0.09. The ES is down almost 0.5%, with the Dow being over 0.5%, closing on that 2/3% in the negative, and then the Russell 2000 faring the worst, obviously down about 1% as we got that higher than expected inflation print this morning. Small caps suffer the most from higher inflation and higher rates, so keep your eye out on that. Let's have a look at the number one ticker, though, as decided by you, SMCI. It was a earnings report yesterday. You can see the reaction there in the market. We still didn't even get the full report, though, guys. We're still waiting for that February 15th deadline coming in very soon.
Yeah, look, whether we get the report or not, I think the good news for us, SMCI, and we said this morning, they reiterated the fact they expect to report their numbers meeting that deadline. If you actually look at everything, and you can see it on our watch list, or you sort of read about it, they actually had a bunch of misses up and down on it. But ultimately, sometimes it doesn't matter. Like, they rinsed it, and you guys would have seen this when you watch. Make sure you tune into the aftermarket show, because what'll happen is if you just sort of see the initial move to the downside, you missed out on what really happened on SMCI, which is the manner in which it got bought up, which was insane. Absolute insanity for it to go green. Now, ultimately, it failed to break out today. So, that kind of stinks that it failed that breakout today. But you're going to be up 3 points, and that doesn't even do it justice from the absolute lows here, what it was able to do on SMCI. That said, if they don't report on the 25th, you could have 20% downside. Like, those are the kind of lows that you're likely to revisit if they don't actually report. as far as the trade goes, like I said, it failed a breakout early. I did have one long to get some back and then a short. End up paying way too many fees on this. I had one last long in here, which shouldn't have been, and I'll show you why. This was a short, and then I trailed out of it into a long position, which doesn't make sense. And the reason for that is failed break of prior high, just like that Intel trade kind of did. Failed it at the open, trend down, fail underneath VWAP. It's one thing to buy it on trend there, but it fails on VWAP, breaks the trend down. That's a stay short situation, not a reverse long after it goes 40 cents in the money. So I had literally turned myself, like, oh yeah, there's a great stock now today. And then I went long one more time in a downward trend. Ultimately not that big, but you want to be able to follow your rules. And when you have a downward trending stock that reverts to the south side, you want to stay short and hold on to the short.
All right. Yeah, we have SMCI. It's the #1 trade idea today. It's going to be the number 3 P&L for me today. It's SMCI. It's right here on the sticky note. Take the 41 long. Display a dip into yesterday's resistance level. We talked about that. Watch pullbacks into VWAP. So how did we trade it? Well, we always say that you have to be flexible as a trader, and we did exactly that. When this name opened up around $42, I knew 41 was going to be tight. Like, that's $1 down is going to be difficult to trade there. Let me zoom in a little bit there. So there was me taking very, like, let's just say 2 units. Like, if we're going to go 10 units by the time we're maxed out, that's 2 units there. That's like 4 and 4. All right, because we started using $40 there, and then I gave the bottom of $39.50. And the reason why was I was expecting a flush off the open. I thought if 40 didn't hold, we would get a little bit of a move down. That's exactly what happened. We nailed it, and SMCI is a great stock for me today. Let's go talk about Tesla.
What a recovery, Sean. I mean, look at that breakdown that we saw yesterday. It was down and to the right. There was barely a bit to be had. Today, it kind of feels like the opposite way, kind of that U-shaped recovery. So good look for Tesla. They they dropped yesterday after BYD announced that they were including self-driving technology in most of its cars, all the way down to that $10,000 car, which is their entry-level model. Today, getting a bit of a boost here from Benchmark, which initiated coverage with a buy rating and a nice price target, guys, of $475.
So Tesla again. Tesla was a big trade today, needless to say, man. I mean, like I said, who cares how much we're up or down on this stock? But it's a huge stock. You can see that we really believed in this name today. And if you don't believe in stocks that you're trading, then you're in the wrong business, and that's it. Here comes Tesla, breaks 40. We like that break of 340. We miss it all morning, man. We were actually on the sticky note. We wrote down short Tesla 340, but we didn't. Just the way this was coming up, and I, holding VWAP, holding the 200 period up on the day. I was kind of like, maybe not. So once that momentum came through and we broke 340, we took the long. It went to 341. We didn't take anything out. But no, actually, we had it on the way back. It broke, we had it on the way back. So true. So we were trying to play this pullback. It went way deeper than we thought. All right, the 50-period moving average was roughly around here. It was a little bit lower. We were using I had to stop in. I just canceled the stop. It was 336. So if that broke 336, we were getting out. So we averaged it in. We had a again, size doesn't matter. We had a position down there. It came in. And then it was like, let's get going back to the upside. The reason why we're able to capture profit when this was happening is that the breakout trade right here was not huge shares. I'm not playing huge shares on breakouts. All right? Yo, Jay Lee, I had that trade on TQs. Okay? I'm still here, my guy. Look, you want me to show you, Jay Lee, about TQs right here? Here we go. There. You want 300 handles? I mean, I'm the one sitting here in front of the futures. This is the one that comes in. We tried to get it to go back to the upside. Eventually it breaks. And we could have, this to me was the buyback in area right there. I'm not mad about getting stopped out. I mean, we talked about this happening. We were just long Apple. And Apple, Again, doesn't matter where it is on the P&L spectrum, but Apple's a huge trade. It was not getting back in there once you see a bottom. That's the kicker for me, because it gave me that. If I really did like the long, and I'm trying not to be stubborn with the trading, like that was it. But anyways, on Tesla, okay, we get a little piece out. My bigger out right now, that is going to be about 30% of what we have left. We still have 10% left more than 10% left of this trade, actually. Was going to be a break of the 200 period, which is at 342. So right now, my next offer, just making sure, is at 345.50. What a surprise, right there. So yeah, man, I mean, there it is. It's going to be my P&L number one today is Tesla, and it's a banger.
Yeah, it's an absolute rocket to that upside is Tesla. Holding on to, we get a lot of questions about VWAP, I know, in moving averages, and just for everyone out there, when we have indicators on our charts, or maybe you have a moving average, maybe it's a trend line, whatever it might be, don't hesitate to ask, is that an EMA? Is that an SMA? And actually, oddly enough, if you liked our RSI video, we're working on something for moving averages as well. So make sure you check that one out. We're just shooting some stuff today, and we want to be able to go over that. So, I know Sean used a 50 and a 200 on a simple. I like the simple. I don't know who else uses an exponential. But there's something happening on Tesla, at least on the daily trend. It's been down. Okay, there's a couple of green days in here, but you guys get the idea. Since it lost the 50 period, it's got a very distinct trend. Close above the trend. I like the long down in the 300 for my PA. Well, obviously the 200 period would have been nice as well. But if we close above this trend line, I think that'll be a reasonable entry to get back into Tesla. Brendan was pointing this out. He was actually saying this yesterday. If you kind of looked at what Tesla was doing at the beginning of last year, really it's more so from the end of the year, it pulled back 260, and then all until April. So at the beginning of the year last year, it was like $240, and it pulled all the way back into 140. So it lost a third before then rallying and being in a big upward trend. Now it seems really bad, but what did Tesla do from these highs? It kind of lost a third from the highs and is bouncing again. So history doesn't always repeat itself. But sometimes it does rhyme. I had 3 longs in Tesla. I was 1 for 3 on them, so we'll be green. But I held it into the high of the day when it pulled these lower highs the entire way through. For the afternoon, I wouldn't want to be shorted unless it was 350.
1.5% in the negative is Nvidia today, despite the fact that Evercore ISI analyst Mark Lipakis did add Nvidia to its tactical outperform list with a buy rating and a price target of 190, guys. I want to remind you that this monster reports February 26th, and we're definitely going to have that, what's it called, an earnings party on the Market Recap show. Make sure to catch that with us, February 26th.
That's not too far now.
It's going to be the biggest
today.
It's the biggest earnings day, not because you're going to get the crazy wealth of this just went $1, that just went 15%. It's not one of those types of days for Nvidia.
Bye Tesla.
But you have to understand
when
Nvidia reports, ultimately it can move the entire market one way or another just based on sentiment. Everyone else has reported, everything else has been, all the big ones have been digested, and then Nvidia has the ability to turn the NASDAQ on its head, but that's a ways away. I traded 1 breakdown trade on Nvidia, but it wasn't a breakdown trade. Technically it's a breakdown trade, but I got it on the way up and not on the way down. So the level I like underneath prior lows, I should say, when it broke down the prior lows, should have it on the way down, didn't, took it on the way back up, 1 shot, and now we're out. We took our hit on it. Ultimately, it's my worst stock, but it's not as bad as, it's obviously we're down less on this than we were on Apple or up on Intel. But what I like about it is you're down 1.5%. The market's flat. It's trending down. It's not that strong today. So ultimately, this is a bit of a flat bottom break here if it can take out these local lows. You've got 132 as resistance. I would caution that it also has a bit of a trend reversal as well. So if it breaks the trend, wait for 132. If it stays on trend, look for the bottom break on NVDA.
Some people asking there in the chat about Uber, $80. I honestly feel like the last 3 things we've bought, and last 4 things we bought have just been good buys, and it's making me nervous that maybe it just was too easy. Like, we bought Uber, we're long Uber 67. We bought Tesla. This is just yesterday. Like, I'm debating getting some out here. Like, it's only up $15, but we bought Tesla yesterday. Oh, and by the way, there's our 345. Yeah, $3.45 there, but it's actually a $7.50 winner. But it's a nice move to the upside. And I heard Sharif screaming about Apple. This is still $5. So that's $13 in the money as we speak. But, plus Lyft. Lyft is small. Oh, yeah, we're talking about Uber and Lyft. Okay, Nvidia. Look, I didn't trade Nvidia today. I really like the stock. It just wasn't on my radar. There was nothing about it on the sticky note. We traded SMCI. SMCI is a big stock today. It's about as clean a chart as you're ever going to see for me on Nvidia. It's so clean, I didn't even clean up this wick. Like, I didn't look at it today. It's down 1.5%. I'm a little nervous about it, honestly. Like, we picked some up on deeps. Whoops. We picked some up on, that's because our charts don't show the split. We picked some up on DeepSeek down here, and it bouncing quite nicely right here off the 50-period moving average. Damn, Daniel, those are some nice, what is it, white Vans? Is it Vans? Those white Vans. What's up, Juan Velasco? Sharif, go talk about Apple, and then we'll talk about the winner.
You know, I don't have to be invited to talk about Apple. Sean, there it is right now at the high of the day, 236.20, up 1.5%. Good day yesterday, good continuation today. The reason it was moving up yesterday is because we got word that they were teaming up with Alibaba to launch their Apple Intelligence in China. That is a requirement by the Chinese government that they have a local partner there. Separately, today we got more headlines from them that they're intending on bringing Apple TV Plus to Android phones in order to boost subscribers, guys, adding to that $100 billion a year services revenue that they have manifesting over there.
I mean, look, we were in Apple early, man. It was 8:30. It's 8 and change. We liked it. We saw that CPI move to the downside there. We know the Fed's not in control of anything anymore, so I wasn't too worried about it. We thought that it would make the move back up. Obviously, to your point, Jay Lee, the reason why the market rallied is because what I just said. The Fed is basically irrelevant now. Like, I'm pretty sure that Trump will just do whatever he wants and have a little meeting with Fed Chair Powell. And if he doesn't listen, then he'll be out the door. But at the end of the day, 236.50, and then there's just bigger things happening right now in the economy. Like, it's like we already know there's no rate cut happening or rate hike for at least a little while. And as long as that stays where it is, then this kind of a move down is going to be temporary, especially when you're talking about hopefully that ceasefire in Ukraine, and then you're just hearing more and more things about tariffs maybe being either levied or just taken, and we'll figure out what happens next. Like, the U.S. and some of these companies remain pretty strong, and then also Apple today got that note from one of the analysts there, Mengji Wang or something like that.
Quote Minji.
Quote the Raven nevermore. But it just goes to the upside. So we were long, still huge. We're just going to watch it go. I mean, we had said that we were $13 in the money. I mean, things are just getting better for us as we hold these longs. Tesla still continues to pump, and Lyft is going the other way. So we've got the shorts on board. We've got the longs. We're just having a great time one more time here today. So Apple, I'm not going to be getting out of that anytime soon. BQC, I thought that took 100K, but
it did not take 100K. Look, I didn't trade Apple. I think, look, yesterday was Apple and Alibaba day. Today was actually Apple and Alibaba day, but unfortunately, I got out of Baba at VWAP when it was downward trending, so it wasn't. It could have been better than Intel today. There's no question about it, but it wasn't. Yesterday felt like, I don't know. It felt like yesterday was easier, but when you look at it, it wasn't. Like, from a technical standpoint, this was actually stronger, yet didn't get the reload. Now I wasn't here when it made this dip. I was here. I wasn't sitting at my desk when it made this obvious reversal move. Right in, like, that's an obvious reversal move. You have bottom wick underneath a prior high, and then you just go into an upward trend. But if you're not sitting at your desk, that's a very quick move that happens in a couple of minutes, and you got to punch into it. So I was waiting for VWAP that entire time with a bid, and it just never got there. I love Alibaba. I think I feel a little bit differently between Alibaba and Apple, as I feel good about Apple. Alibaba, I have this sneaky suspicion that you're gonna have to weather a bit of a pullback again on Alibaba at this $120 level. But that's about it. It's been gold here. I had made zero decision as to whether I wanted. I didn't take profit on Alibaba last time it did this, and I still haven't decided yet, to be honest with you. I'll probably think about it on the train tonight. You see what you saw. Like went 120, went 70 to 120 to 180 to 120, and it almost went up this fast last time. It was a little bit faster. So it wouldn't surprise me, although I'd like to think it can hold a higher low if we do another dip. And if you take some profit, you might be able to buy the 100s again, or the 50 period will be a little bit higher on Alibaba. So good luck for them. I was a little bit surprised that Baidu was also up because Baidu, in theory, did not get the deal with Apple because Alibaba did, but Baidu's also up. That's surprising to me. They might be a fade at some point. I don't know.
All right, Bitcoin. I mean, we talked about it earlier at that 92 to 94 area. It looks like there was some kind of support. Let's go find out more about BTC.
Interesting movement today, Sean. Once we got that CPI print in the morning, we tanked, dropped aggressively into that 94, 93 and change. We recovered. Best we could do, though, was 97.5. We're a little bit off the highs right now. Here's a look at IBIT as well, trading at about $55, up 1 1/3. Yeah, Fed Chair Powell was in front today of the hearing committee in the House of Representatives, and he had some comments about Bitcoin. He said, "We don't want to get in the way of banks serving perfectly legal customers using crypto. When banks take crypto activities on their own, it's appropriate to make sure we understand the risks. On the other hand, we don't want to go so far as to overplay your hand. Many of these activities on crypto can be very well done at banks." I don't know. How do you perceive that? Bullish or bearish?
I'm always. You know what? Like, this is a weird thing to say. Bitcoin has been, since it made the all-time high, it's been trending back down. IBIT's underneath the 50-period moving average. It's stuck in a range. I think it's likely to be range-bound. I agree with Michael Moss about that. I can't speak to any of the other coins out there. Frankly, I'm not involved in them. And I don't have any issue if, I know it's 88 to 92,000, so that's the deal. But here on IBIT, you can see that's the low 50s and now the higher low at 54. It's perfectly fine if you're in this consolidation. There is nothing wrong with it. We did this before, and it was a very, very long consolidation that you're rewarded with the breakout in. And as a matter of fact, it actually was making successive lower highs. This is March, and we broke out in November. And it was making lower highs for 2/3 of that time before it rounded the bottom and broke out the top. So why wouldn't we have an entire first half of the year where we're just sideways and you're buying? I thought would be I was wrong. I thought it would be in the mid 80s, which would be a little bit lower, but the bottom of the range is higher. You're buying it in the high 80s and the 90s, and you're taking it to the top. And I think we break out, but it could just be the second half of the year. That's the only reason why I was on the little Sharif bet there for his birthday. I sort of thought that it wouldn't get there. It was 125, I think it was, by Sharif's birthday in May. And that's mostly because I think we have a bit of a longer consolidation happening for us. But if you break the 50 period, there's probably a nice little short-term swing to the top.
We got to have another piece here of Tesla as we reach to 345.50 right there again. So, I mean, this one, it's having a hard time up at the top right now. So, I mean, yeah, that's, again, another fit. We got out 345, but it's having a problem here at the top. That was the 343. You know, we were talking about dropping them. Now, I guess, you know what? I still have the stop order in there. I think we'll cancel it now. I got to change the price of it because, and we're getting out of more and more shares. Like, I put the stop order in and we already have 3 out since then. So we're being a little conservative right now. All right, so we'll get out of maybe a third of what we have left. We have about 7 or 8% now of this trade left. We were getting out of some more lift right now as well. Look, I dropped down the Bitcoin chart earlier, and I sort of talked about what we needed to find and what we needed to have happen. It was down there into that 91, 92 area. I mean, that was a great buy. There it is right there earlier. It got to 94, it looks like, depending on where you're looking, but that's 94.1, 94.5. That's been a great support area. So as long as it holds that, I think you're fine. I mean, you know, I think crypto could easily test back into 70. It's just a matter of what the NASDAQ does. If you're a bull in the market right now, then crypto will be fine. If you're a bear in the market right now, then you should probably short Bitcoin. I think you're going to get a better return on a Bitcoin short than you would in the market short if you are feeling bearish in the space. I'm not. I'm bullish right now. So, all right. So that's what it is. Again, thank you for the rundown. All right. Great stocks there today. Lyft, it looks like right now on earnings, I mean, they were crushed earlier. I've got a good position in Uber, so we're watching out for that, but we want to always trade catalysts. And again, this was on our sticky note. So boom, down, made money. It was always a positive stock for us. No problem at all for Lyft today. It does hold that 1350 area. It was a great trade. And then once we came back, again, we weren't here, we're at the gym, came back, it's underneath the 50-period moving average. We saw that fail, then we saw it hold. So again, man, we talk about being a trader. There it is. That's the decision we made. Hold. We could have reloaded it there. I'm not really in the reloading mode right now. We can try to hold on to some of these positions and just get lighter and lighter. We're already at like a great level for us today. As far as, you know, where we've hit our daily goal and exceeded that. So we're very similar to a net that we were at yesterday. And we talked about how that was one of our best days net-wise. So we're doing it again today, and we just hope that this Lyft trade will work out for us. But the problem with this is you're still over VWAP. So that VWAP is still 1330. If it gets into that, you can't even see it when I zoom in. If it gets into that, then we'll just try to cover it all. It's an earnings play above VWAP. Any kind of a move down there, we'll at least get out of probably like 70% of what we have left. So right now I am bidding some 40s. We already got that good fill there. If it comes back, great. Then the majority of them like 31s or 32s. You know, that's the trade there on Lyft. And then I already told you where my Apple stop was, 24s. So right into here, well, now it's moving up, but I was using the 200 period. So 235.25. That's where that is stopped. So yeah. Again, great day. Not much else to go over right now for me. We'll look to get into the TQQs maybe a bit. Futures are pretty flat there today, obviously as a triple levered ETF. And then SMCI, that's already been a good stock, but kind of barcoding. And we will talk more about some stocks. We got Reddit coming through. There's lots of good names today.
Absolutely, that's the thing. There's lots of awesome names today. I'm actually shocked that Blackberry is one of the stocks that's moving a lot. We got our market depth on eSignal. So the entitlement came through. So I'll figure out, because I haven't used, we got a question the other day, and I know we talk about eSignal all the time. We got a question the other day specifically about the imbalance locator on eSignal, in which we don't have to use it on eSignal because it's on our platform here at Real Trading. But I did figure out that it's somewhere in the market depth, which I have entitlements to, and I'll see if I can figure that out for you. If you're having trouble, the other thing you can always do if you're ever using eSignal, just ask, like, they have a really, really good customer service. And I know people like, oh, it's tedious, I don't want to do it. Someone else figure it out for me, which is fine. And if I figure it out and someone asks me, I'll let you know. But no, seriously, they're really good. They're fantastic. And, you know, it's a pretty good platform. But on the note of Blackberry, because Blackberry's up a bunch today, I wanted to pull up the weekly chart. Like, it's at resistance on this weekly. You go back to, that's 2023. It's got a double top that it's trying to punch through right now at about 575 on Blackberry. So this is what happened earlier when it punched through. Bit of a reversion. It's punching through again. If it loses this level on a curl, I want to look to short it into VWAP. So it's, you see that 575? I think if it reverts this move up, this last move up, underneath that 575, I'd look for some kind of a curl. We actually have free locates on this name. Okay, Baba. I'm going to get rid of my Alibaba chart because I said if it's not moving by this time of day, if you start barcoding in the afternoon on the Chinese ADR, I'm going to anticipate there might not be any moves left in it. And AIFF apparently making a bit of a push. Is that true? Yes, it is. Someone asked in the chat while Sean was talking, would you short this move into the high on Firefly? My answer is no. I tried it breaking out on VWAP. It actually went like 40, 50 pennies in the money. But let's just say I was kind of hoping it would do a little bit more than that. But the volume came right out of it. Like, let's get out. It could have been an easy short when it lost VWAP, but it's still above that $10 level where all that selling was in the afternoon. I'd rather look for longs this afternoon. You know, it's holding on to VWAP. I'd look to be buying dips in Firefly. At some point, someone's going to get the top of this thing, and they're going to make a boatload if they get the top. But before that happens, there's likely a lot of other people that go short that get absolutely rinsed. That's how these things tend to go. Like maybe you catch that big high. We saw it with, like HKD has done this before. Maybe not this, maybe crazier to a certain extent. Veru did things like this. So you want to be very careful when you're shorting them. Have a plan of action. That's all. Like if you have an out and there's liquidity around your level, you know, no worries. I tried shorting it yesterday. I feel like I got away with one for a small win. But you know, today I'd rather look for the buy off of VWAP if it can hold it again. That's where we tried to buy once. All right, so the only thing I'm in right now is Intel. I said simple trail on the day-long trend, which it's basically, it's riding it right now. So this prior support underneath the 15s, if it loses that, that's a break of trend, and I would wait for VWAP, which coincidentally is the exact same price that we've been buying it. I've only bought Intel at two places, 2180-ish, sometimes like 77, 78, and 21 even. And now VWAP's that price, so suffice to say if it gets to VWAP, that's the same price as before. Oh, and another note. Remember losing yesterday, shorting Intel when it tried to break 21? If not for that, when everything else was breaking down, Intel held 21, probably wouldn't have had the 21 long. So it pays to be looking at stocks that are in play. Whether you trade it or not, it gave you information that there were buyers on 21 yesterday when the short didn't work, and that informed you that the 21 long was an opportunity here today. So you always want to pay attention to these levels that get rejected. Palantir 110 is a good example of that as well.
All right. Let's just look. If there's anything, yeah. Oh man, that big bear. That was one that will forever be missing. Yeah, pretty much. I think.
Seriously?
Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah, it is.
$10.
Yeah, it is.
BBAI, there it is, right there at 956. So, again, I talked about this earlier today at 7 and change. I actually. You know, not being, if I wasn't on the show, I might have been more thinking about it. It doesn't matter. I can still put the buy in. It's just an excuse at the end of the day. But I like this name, and I thought that the pullback there today was something. But again, it just, I'm missing some data here. I don't think it was halted, but we were down there near 780. And then a nice move back up there on BBAI. So it just kept on going the rest of the day up to $10. And then now you're right at this level again. And if we zoom back out, you'll see, this might take a minute, but $10 has been a level here on Big Bear AI. It's going to take a minute. Or maybe it was only $5. Maybe we haven't been up here before. Oh, hold on a second. I'm going to call it up on eSignal, be a little bit quicker than what we were doing. Yeah, maybe Big Bear's never been up here. Maybe, yeah, maybe it hasn't. I mean, this could be another stock. It could have been that $5 mark. So we're already way off. Oh, no. Yeah, okay. Ooh. All right, good. Still got something here. Yeah, so there it was. So the $10, I was starting to get nervous. I was like, why is our charts not showing it? But there it is right there. So it's had its day before. Remember, there's no splits involved with Big Bear AI. This is just what it is. And it's trying to go through this level right there, right now of $10.
Is that a SPAC?
Could have been a SPAC. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, hovering around 10. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so this was a SPAC probably. So D-SPAC, just like DWAC did. And then DWAC, of course, DJT. You know, you could add DJT around $10, $11, right? And that would have been DWAC, as we all know, DWAC, Digital World Acquisition Corp. But there it is, the move down there, and then all the way back up. Like when you look at DJT on the weekly chart, you'll see what I'm talking about. There it is, right? So we start at $10, $14. It has a $10 base. Then it gets announced, I guess, that it was going to be Trump's, and then it gets all the way up to 175, and then it comes right back down. Obviously, this is when it was DWAC, DWAC. You guys will remember that, I hope. And then it gets DWAC'd all the way to the downside here, right back into $10, which we were calling this whole time down. I was trying to call this. Everyone was listening. It's just Joe would know, you know, the cost of, well, he probably wasn't looking at this, but the cost of options and everything for $10 was pretty obvious. And then it just gets back up to the upside. And this is the most recent moves that we've all been talking about here. This goes back to 2024 in March. We had a nice move up and then another move up, I believe. I think that was maybe assassination attempt or something, up to $54, $55. And then now you're holding, which is pretty good actually right here, the 200 period moving average. So no matter what we say about DJT, it's actually not looking horrible. There's many worse stocks than this. That is for sure. So
how do you get those 52-week high and lows to show on your chart?
You go like this. You go right like this. Neil's asking about how do you get these to go, right? So then you go edit chart, and then it goes into here, then you go to chart properties, my guy, and then right into here, 52-week high and lows. You will also notice that you can indicate dividends. And this is the thing about this, earnings,
I love this.
splits, all of that stuff, memos, rollovers. I mean, they have everything on here. You know, you can show, like, so I don't have the description up here. You can get it to say Donald J. Trump up here. I don't have that necessarily, so show description. You know, those are just, see, there it goes. So it shows it up here. Anyways, very, very customizable.
That's what I was saying I was just saying just now, like,
Notify me about news.
sometimes you can just ask somebody else to do it. See, I could have gone to eSignal Help, or I can just change my chart and apply it as well. So now I have.
I mean, I am live eSignal Help sitting right beside you.
Yeah, there you go. But that's what it's all about. Like, I like, without having to glance, because how many times you look at a chart, where is the 52 week low? You're doing all that nonsense. No, just make it simple on yourself.
It's not like it's anything special. It's just, it's easy to. It's nice to have it there.
You know what, though?
I'm always looking at 52-week breaks.
You want your tools to work for you. And so if it makes it a little bit easier to know where the actual price that matters is, then who cares? Just go ahead and do it. I think we're going to the desk with Adara.
Potentially.
AMD's flying.
Here on the market, Fed's Goolsby talking here still too, saying that inflation data today is concerning, but it's only 1 month. It's worth noting earlier today, Fed's Goolsby said that if this trend continues, like what we saw with the higher than expected core CPI print for January, then it'll show that the Fed hasn't done enough work in inflation. But now just a couple hours later, he's emphasizing this is only 1 month's worth of data, guys. Back to you.
Message, I forgot. We were going back and forth with Chef Joe earlier on. He had sent me some pictures of food, so I'm going to wait. He's celebrating some big things there, and he wants to celebrate. Yeah, exactly. He's going to try to come up here. So I just don't know if he's in. I don't want to show it until he's on.
We're supposed to do pineapple pizza.
I know, but it was too cold. I didn't go out and get it. We could order the pineapple
But we could
pizza.
do it on Friday.
We had to film that stuff, and then we were like, I was going to go walk and get it, and then we could order it in. It's 3 o'clock now.
Well, I don't know. We could also just do it on Friday. Friday's kind of the day we do like pizza,
Randy's
beer,
not here,
and that kind of stuff.
but I did say we were going to do it. We could do the pineapple pizza. We could still do it.
Just for the record, everybody, it's only happening because we had 500,000. You guys got us to 500,000.
Yeah, we got a super chat, so we have to spend it.
And we got a super chat for it. Otherwise, there would be no eating of pineapple pizza because, I mean, as Sean knows, as an Italian, that's not real pizza. What is really amazing is AMD.
Real.
No, it's true.
Yeah. I mean, it's still real pizza. Is it not preferred pizza?
Is it really?
I mean, I can look up the definition of pizza.
I don't know. As long as it's like, what is it? It has to have tomato sauce.
It might not. I think pineapples would be better actually if it was just absolute, like if you kind of stripped it of everything. It's almost like you like a little bit of oil there. You had the pineapple. I don't know what else to throw on it. I talked about jalapenos and peppers. I was going to get that.
Someone said that yesterday.
I'm not getting the Hawaiian. I'm getting it with banana peppers. Yep.
Then that makes it a little bit better.
I'm thinking even
down with all.
I don't know if the olives would counteract it. But okay, I was looking at BBAI, and I mean I'm with everybody there. I just feel like sick to my stomach that we don't have that long, but it doesn't really matter. It's really holding the 50-period moving average. It's also holding VWAP as well, so it's a huge move to the upside. This little, again, when things gap, I'm missing data here. I probably have to just close and reopen the chart, so I apologize. But when you have this move up there and it's up 21%, you do like to play back to VWAP. We talk about that all the time, so that's just a missed opportunity right there at $9. So I don't know if we're going to get that again. And when you get it again, it might not be that good because it's coming crashing into it. So that's where you have to take that risk. That's what we did on SMCI when SMCI came crashing in to VWAP early, or into, I don't know if, no, it wasn't VWAP. SMCI was way under that. But right here, when it came crashing into our 41 level, we were like, you got to be careful when that happens. It's different if it just levels off and it's bouncing off of 41, right? Comes crashing in, you got to give it a little bit more room. So for Big Bear, I mean, breaking 75 is fine. We could just go long on the high of the day. The only problem here is that if you're going to be responsible about trading, and I think you don't want to just necessarily punch the high of the day and not have a responsible out. Well, that is for me 30 cents away. So, that's probably a little too far. Like I'd rather wait to see if there is a pullback. This is almost the furthest it's been away, right, from its 50-period moving average all day for Big Bear. Right? I mean, it had to move there, retraced. Had to move here, retraced. Had to move here, retraced. Had to move here.
Retrace.
Hold on a second. Retrace.
It will not retrace.
Retrace. I have no idea what it says. But at the end of the day, yeah, I think that's probably the wise thing. So I'm going to bid it. I'm going to bid 950. So let's bid down here 950 on Big Bear. We won't necessarily use the 50 period exactly because that's only at 945. So we got to give it more than 5 cents. But, you know, a pullback, I think we can give it 25 cents. I think that's pretty reasonable. These bottoms are 925. So yeah, I think 950. Let's start the bidding for BBAI. What's up, Taylor? This is just a 1 minute chart if you are asking about what I'm using.
What's up to, okay, so before I get to the super chat, AMD's already rolling over, so if you were going to take a reversion trade on this move on AMD, you would have already done it.
They're so good.
Let's look to see where it can bounce. I'll do the super chat in a second. So prior high was 111. That looks reasonable to me, like somewhere in the 111, maybe to like this 1080 range. If it gets to VWAP, that's too big of a reversion, but AMD, which was just programmed buying to the upside, starting to pull back. My trail is at the 15 mark on Intel. And thank you for the super chat there. Jesus, Jerry, vodka, pineapple, and jalapenos. Fair enough. And for the record, someone said you should try it. It's not that bad. I'm a firm believer in, I will never say I don't like a food if I've never had it. You know, I tell that to my daughter all the time. I go, look, you know what? If you try it and you don't like it, I have no issue with that. But if you don't tell me it's disgusting if you've never eaten it, or that you don't like it if you've never even tried it. That's sort of one of my, it doesn't really grind my gears, but you know, it'll get me a little bit. It's like, you've never even had it. How can you say it's not good? But I have many times, and I don't necessarily like it. So Blackberry, if it breaks the trend, I'm going to go short, but I'm just going to do that. Don't have to pay for locates on Blackberry. Actually wasn't sure, so we just tested. Free shorts on this if we break this trend line, which is all day long on Blackberry. Until this with 1, 2, like 3 times it's now tested it. We break under, I'm going into that short. What else? Palantir is very gently breaking through the high. Like very, very gently breaking this top.
Palantir doesn't do too much gently, though.
Well, right now it is. See, like it broke 117, what's the high? 14. It went like a couple of cents. 23 is not, I have 23 as a high. It looks like 14 is the actual high. And it hasn't really busted through on any volume. This could just be a buy the dip kind of play as well. So AMD looks like a buy the dip on trend. Palantir looks like it can be one at 116, although I would grant you AMD is the one that looks like it's giving you some kind of a dip right now, whereas Palantir still kind of teasing that high of the day.
So the Apple trade, I mean, a lot of things aren't doing too much. So we are like $1 lower on Apple. I'm gonna scrap that. 236. So we're just gonna cancel this. If this breaks below here, I just don't want to be lulled to sleep right now. Like it's kind of sort of happening. So I don't. You know, let's just try to get some action going. If this breaks 236, we're out. Now, I don't want that to happen, but at least it will indicate more to me about maybe what's happening. So there you go. 235.99, small piece left of Apple. But the good thing about Apple is that we did still have a decent amount on as this was happening. So boom goes the dynamite, right? You got to have something on, and we did for that. You know, this is also starting to get, you know, a little bit. That's 343. I just want to make sure where my stop is. My stop is 341. So we can change that and put the stop right now at 343. So again, all right. So we have, let's just say for argument's sake, we have 2 units on Tesla. Just talk about what we're going to do. It doesn't matter, actually. We're going to get out of a third of the trade of what we have left. So if we break the 200 period, we do want to get out of it. But we've been really responsible with this trade, right? I mean, it came back in. We talked about where our outs were. We were pretty lucky to be saved and not have to pay the piper by getting punched out there at 336. So we had dropped it down another 50 cents, saved us, able to get it out. Green after all this on Tesla, then hold that special piece, and we did. We probably held about half to get it all up here into 344s. And you know, when I left to go to the gym, I told you guys like we were at 341, which is what we were, and then I said we're at 344s. We got filled right there when we got back, and then I actually sat back down, and then I punched this because I was like, oh my God, what if that's the top? Then I put another. You see, you can tell when I'm back sitting down, you know, every time, because there's me getting filled. There's me getting nervous because we went down and came right back up. Then there's me putting another out at the day's high, and then what? we don't do any trading for 40 minutes, and then all of a sudden, we're in and out of about 20% of our position within 15 minutes at these highs. And then once again, oh, what a surprise. It goes right back to the highs, and your boy gets more out. And then again, breaks to 50. Well, you know I'm here now. And then out here at 345 again at the highs. So this is called, in my opinion, responsible trading. It's really helped with all of this. And, you know, you can't have the winners, right? I mean, it's like what you mentioned there on Palantir about being flat or whatever on Palantir. It's like, you know, you got to follow your own rules. But like this one, if you're following the 50 period moving average, very, very choppy. This hasn't broke. I'm missing all this data here. So these lines might not even be accurate.
Close it and open it.
Yeah, so I'm just going to do that once I pass it back. But at the end of the day, I think the lines are fine. It's just this has nowhere near VWAP.
The VWAP will be wrong.
Yeah, because there's missing all this volume from the open. Well, I actually got... Yeah, so I'm going to close that and reopen it. But at the end of the day, it's like if a stock is long, it's kind of easy to trade it with the market doing this. It's when the market does this is when you have to have that plan of action. So that's why we're breaking down our stops. We consider, and we had Brian Shannon on yesterday, and I really, really take from him, I mean, and just consider myself to be a risk manager because, sure, we can have all these big trades on every day, and again, doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, it is what matters, is share size. And if you're able to manage that and take the right shares at the right time, then everything else is whatever. It's easy to work your way out of winning trades, right? It's tough to work your way out of losing trades, which is why we're always so nervous when we have these winners to manage them because it's like, okay, when it loses, we get stopped out, right? I mean, boom, no problem. We get stopped out. That's it. We're red on it. And we just go ho-hum. That's what happened. We move on to the next one. But it's when we have these winners, it's like, okay, now how do we deal with it? Where are our stops? You know, where do we get out? So like right now, I have an out right now at 347 on Tesla. Why? Because we've just taken too many out right now. As we get into the high of the day, great trading right here for Tesla. Let's wait for 347 and reward ourselves. So that's what we're doing right now. Neil, we're almost at 2 or 3 times our daily goal. We're having the best day. We actually have more money today than we were up yesterday. It's an absolutely fantastic day. But enough about me. Let's throw it over to you.
Well, BBI isn't about to break $10. Like, this stock's unbelievable. I thought you were in BBAI. Never mind.
No, I was waiting for that. I mean, I wish I was. I was waiting for that pullback.
So my water's blocking the.
Oh,
no. We have a program monitor, and I saw the other position, and I looked over, and I was like, no, because hey, it doesn't really matter.
No, but it did take out the high of the day. It's a good call to take that long.
Well, no. I wasn't going to take the long. I just, for some reason, I saw an extra position over there. My water bottle was blocking it. But BBAI is on an absolute tear.
Went down to 62.
Yeah, you can see, there you go. You can see that's what I'm always looking at. And this blocks sometimes. You know what? Just because I saw the Vegemite, actually, somebody sent me, one of our viewers sent me a video. I thought our was
doing less on the board, man. What the hell?
Someone sent me a video. There's this dude who has like millions of views on YouTube who did a video on Vegemite, which I have to watch because someone said it's like what? It's literally what is Vegemite?
Not me.
And I haven't watched it yet.
Nothing to do with me.
What I want to get to. No, so you're obviously breaking out here on BBI. That is an absolute powerhouse. I don't know if you're going to be able to buy dips there. There's probably a 10 break on this. Oh yeah, I wanted to show you guys the e-signal, and that's still on Blackberry. But there's probably a 10 break on this. I haven't had a look at the level. Right now, when I drop it down, there's not a lot on the offer, but it's done 125 million shares. Personally, I wouldn't short it. And in a weird thing, if there's more on the offer, sometimes that's even better for the break. I know that's a bit counterintuitive, but I want to respect that. Still no breakdown on Blackberry. Palantir, as I said, I would rather buy a dip than try to, like, I'm not sure where you work into a long when it's doing this. Like, if it dips down into some prior support, get some kind of a pullback, and then you can play with it. AMD is still in its dip. I got this one up. Like, ever since this parabolic move up, which is all green candles on the 3, it's all red candles. Still hasn't gotten to that prior high of 111. Oh, this top 111.20 and then 111 even in here. So until we get there, if it's all red, I'm not even thinking about the long until we at least get to the 111. And it's halfway back in as well. If there's anything else you guys see that's moving, like when I look up at my patented trade rate here, it's got, I don't even know what FINMY is, FINMY. And Nvidia, SPY, BITF, SMCI, BBAI, so that's about right. I don't even know what this top name is, but I looked up Nvidia.
That's going to be a pink sheet name.
Yeah, but
Oh, maybe that's Fannie Mae one. It's probably not. Let me check it up.
I don't know what it is. Nvidia is not really doing that much, so even though it's the top of the list, I like the fact that AMD's been moving a little bit more. Otherwise, we usually look at Nvidia instead. So looking for the reversion here into AMD, if it happens. Same thing with Blackberry. Nothing much has changed. I have a trail on Intel. I'm not punching along if it breaks out this high on Intel. There's overhead resistance on the daily. So I'm not going to take that long, but I am going to look to buy a dip if it breaks the trend, either at 22 or at VWAP. That's about it. What else we got going on here?
So yesterday, I mean, right now Tesla's at highs, and we only have a $9 winner going on, so it's just a little bit of this. Oh, you guys want to know what was for lunch? Sad days around here because we are switching. I don't know if sad days or not. I'm happy with it. I always feel bad when a business loses a client, but we are switching over caterers starting on Monday. So you're going to get a little bit of a different feel for what is for lunch. But today was chicken pot pie I saw. It looked like there was some sort of fried rice potentially with it. I don't have the menu, but that's what it looked like. And then I had egg salad on the salad. What did you have?
A little too much egg salad.
Oh, you had egg salad, okay, too. Ramin had tuna on it, but I dare not ask to take hers because I did not. No, I don't want to start anything. Ramin, you know what I mean? You know what Ramin?
She said it was raw tuna. Obviously, it was not.
Oh, but you can eat raw tuna.
No, but they wouldn't put that on. It wasn't.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like,
raw tuna.
The finest tuna is eaten raw.
It's a good source of protein.
Okay, so I want to host a show here, Ramin.
I would prefer the tuna salad on my salad than the egg salad. By the way, Ramin is basically saying, how can you have tuna salad every single day? I would prefer that than the egg salad every single day. Easily. I'll take it.
The new caterer is on watch.
We
will do that. Yeah, I just tell people what I want, and then it generally happens with the caterer. So if you have any requests, please put them in, and then you will hopefully get that. Yeah, Pro J Terror is just a $9 winner, but we will just move off of that. Okay, so we also have $6 on $5.50 on Apple, but we've already talked about where our stops are. So I did. Funny thing is, I logged in and out of the charting, and so the middle of this reappeared. But Apple, I'm assuming, was not halted in the middle of the day there. But I lost now about 20 minutes of data there, and I'm not worried about it at all. I don't feel like that would have affected anything. So I'm just going to keep the charts like this because the next time I open them and close them, I don't want to miss more value right there. There's Chef Joe. Okay, what's up, Chef Joe? Yeah, man. I mean, I know that you're all about this. So you just mentioned it to me in the chat here about what you're doing exactly. So, all right, I'm going to get them all loaded up here, open them up in new tabs so I don't like dox ourselves here. That's a word that I learned, I think, from Pratt or something like that, doxing ourselves. All right, so open image in new tab. I think that just means like giving away your email address or something. All right, so Chef Joe has messaged me. What's up, Chef Joe? Thank you for coming on the recap show a couple weeks ago. I really appreciate that. We had a lot of fun, Adara and I, with you, and potentially you can come back on very, very soon. All right, Chef Joe, here we go. So this looks like a excellent little. Is this a rustic tomato soup? I'm not sure. I don't think you actually mentioned what all of this was to me. He just said he can't wait for the get-together, so we cannot wait to meet up with you. So that is Exhibit A. Please, everybody, if you're...
cook? Damn.
Yeah, he's gonna cook. Oh yeah, he's gonna cook. Well, we're gonna take Chef Joe out.
Well,
so that's for that. So there goes Chef Joe. So thank you for that. If you do want to find out what all this is, please enter the chat, and we will be able to tell you what all of these are. Chef Joe will be able to. And then here's the money maker right here. So this is the ribeye that we all about right here. I told you that my favorite side was mushrooms. That looks like that may be it. Looks like you got a little sprinkle of salt on there. This is exactly what we're talking about. And then the coup de grace, after all said and done, why not just slice it and dice it? And there it is right there. Basically cooked to perfection. This is exactly how I do it, man. I pan fry the steak, then throw it in the oven. You get it looking like this. Chef's kiss, Chef Joe. So there it is right there, man. Get up here to Toronto, and we'll go to, we'll get any fare that you would like. But if it's a steakhouse you are looking for,
There's so
we
much.
have some in mind.
There's a few good ones. We got a few good ones in here.
And as the 51st state, you can use your US dollars up here. And the thing about it is the
go a
US
little
dollar
far.
goes a hell of a long way. Actually, Chef Joe, you're paying. Because you know what? Like US dollar, you can get $1.40 Canadian for $1 US dollar.
I'm surprised.
And that's
we
after
haven't-
getting ripped off on the
I'm
exchange.
surprised it hasn't made that run to 150 yet. It's always been like a psychological, not psychological, but there's, I don't know, if you look at Forex Canada US, which if you're Canadian, we tend to pay attention to, that 140,
hungry now.
that 140 level has been a thing multiple times for sure. I would suspect that US dollar strength is going to continue. Trump can't like that. Yeah.
You just worry about the stock market.
No, of course, but I mean, at the end of the day, like if you know, for some of the goals you want, if you want trade deficits to come back down, you don't necessarily want all that dollar strength.
Right.
Yeah, it can get too strong if you're worried about your
I'm
deficit.
taking some out on Tesla.
So we are getting a reversion. Just close the bar on AMD, and we're going to go into, whoops. Yeah, we're going to go into the long. Blackberry is also trying to do one underneath. So simultaneously, one's going down underneath day long support. And the other one is going, or attempting to go up. Like BlackBerry's kind of already done this reversion here. That's all day long. Since the open to now, BlackBerry is now just breaking trend. Off the top of my head, I don't remember the news. It was QNX something. It doesn't really matter for BlackBerry. You're trading it on technicals anyways. Like I wouldn't be buying and holding this thing. So, you know, I'm sure Derek can tell you what the news is on BlackBerry today. Why it's up 9%. Why this thing is running from $2 to $6. Sharif just jokingly says, Neil, why is BlackBerry up today? I'm like, I don't know. I just hung onto their phone for a very long time, which has nothing to do with how they make money. They make money with software, especially the QNX software, which is one of their.
Do they make money?
Sorry. They have revenue. They're driver of revenues.
They may make money. I didn't ask.
No, that's an apt
That's an
apt correction. I am certain that they have revenues from QNX. I am uncertain because I haven't
they
checked.
have revenues. Yeah.
No, but I actually had
Imagine
no
selling a
idea if they
product.
reported positive net earnings last. I have no.
And I don't know. They probably do have an EPS.
I wouldn't make the assumption that they do.
Okay. Yeah. Nor would I. Scott. Nor would I. Okay, so right there, 346.
Brandon Ingram's making more money than BlackBerry.
Yeah, maybe. Brandon Ingram, he's going to get paid 40. I think they'll sign him for $40 million per. The NBA.
They did.
Oh, they already did. Oh, they did.
They extended him for the Raptors extended him for 3 years, 120. Yesterday. I thought.
Oh, okay. I had heard 40. So okay, good. All right. So that is true. I think it's worth it, man. We got him for nothing. If he's healthy enough, nobody's going to sign in Toronto anyways. You see that clearly with the Blue Jays. Breaking BlackBerry news. Okay. So Armin just told me there's breaking BlackBerry news with Adara. So let's go over and see this breaking news.
No, there isn't.
There really isn't, but I could talk about the BlackBerry news that broke last night. When I say last night, I mean, oddly enough, this headline came through at 11 p.m., which I've kind of never seen before. But anyway, around 11 p.m., BlackBerry announced that its QNX here has expanded its QNX Everywhere initiative in India through a multi-year partnership with Pi Square Technology. That is the story. Again, oddly coming out at 11 p.m. last night. So it is a day one catalyst. With that in mind, not much pre-market movement, but the second we open, steadily making higher highs, higher lows. Good look for BB.
There you go.
All right. A little bit of BlackBerry action there. We do get some more out of Lyft as that happens. 13.51 right there. Good trading on that one. All right. So that was Lyft. We could talk a little bit about Uber. There was somebody in the chat. Oh, yeah. AIFF. That's fine. Big Bear. I think Big Bear. Oh, this was that FINMY name there, that FinMe. It was doing nothing, but I just wonder if there might have been a big print that happened because now it is gone. Like sometimes we get these odd ones on here, like PGHY on this hot list.
You know what I think?
See, it's like this not doing anything. I got to figure out what exactly the trade rate is.
I think the trade rate is so low on some that if it does anything, it'll pop up for a couple of minutes.
So you could. There's going to be a filter where
there's a filter that I'm not using on that. That's the problem.
I just don't. I'm only looking for the big names. Like there it is, AIFF right now. We can look at that. So again, this is the trade rate's great. I mean, there's lots of different things that the eSignal platform does provide. We have the scanner for the watch list up there right now. Like. Honestly, we talk about the sticky note. For me, it's a game changer. I mean, it's it really lets me guide and give me a clear look at what I'm looking at. But I build it all off the watch list. So not all of it, but at the end of the day, there's always 5 to 10 names at least on that watch list, including small cap runners. So I wanted to bring that up to you guys because scan that watch list right there. It is completely free. I mean, I think we should probably charge for it, but we'll keep it free, completely free there for everybody. And, you know, it just, if you're going to watch the show, those are going to be names that we're going to discuss. And generally speaking, I mean, what's on the watch list today? Tesla. What's on the watch list today? Potentially Apple, SMCI for sure. And these are all big names that I've traded, and they are all the proper, do the ad read for eSignal? Okay, let's just go. I don't need it open. Okay, so let's go. We just went over eSignal right there. So I just think it's really important that everybody trades with the best software and the ones that they can trust. It has nothing to do with you know, the fact that this is a free trial or anything like that. I think you should go there, scan it, try it out for the month. If you don't like it, then forget about it. Get rid of it, right? We just showed you there is an imbalance locator. I actually saw it. I want to go find out what that's all about. We just showed you the scanners. The thing is, you can connect over 50 plus brokers as well. So you can basically learn this platform, get rid of whatever broker you're using, attach it here, trade off the charts. And then Neil's already mentioned earlier too about the support. I mean, the support that's available with eSignal is world-class as well. And then the other thing that I like about it is, for me, the most important thing is that it's entitlement-based. So, you know, we have trade ideas on, and it's a great platform for sure. And those of you that have it know they don't have future. They don't have CME futures on there. You know, so you guys already know that. We love these trade ideas. They're great, okay? But at the end of the day, if you want something, eSignal will allow you to chart that. And sure, it will be a cost, but that's the cost of doing business, right? So check out eSignal. I'm telling you, man, Neil's already told you it's something that he's going to be using. And then on the midday show, Joe's going to figure out the options.
Tree's already all in.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, everyone's there. We like the platform, and we want to thank eSignal again for being part of Trader TV Live. So yeah, the market's falling back in. And before we go, I'm going to actually go get another drink here quickly. Before we fall back in, Tesla right now, we took that out. So I mentioned to you, we're getting out of Tesla, 346. It was having a problem again. Remember when I mocked myself and basically saying like, can you tell when I get back? And it was just like right into here. But then we don't have to worry about this. And when it comes back up, we get out there. And then we get some out at the top. So it always looking pretty good, right? So I feel like that's something that's trading. And what I put in my toolbox is, if it doesn't go, have the ability to get out. Take the money here and then save it for this. You know, like we said, we're the trader who we are, and I hope that you guys can see, you know, $13, $14, $15 in the money. This is not something that happens rarely. We pride ourselves on doing this quite often. And I mean, yesterday we had huge moves up in Nvidia that we had on the show. Neil, we had I think it was $9 winner Tesla yesterday, or even the day before that we held into the after hours. You can go find my Twitter. It's all over it right now. And yeah, it's just, these are the trades. And I just trying to hold more. It's not necessarily working out, but on Apple it did. We were able to hold for these levels. I don't have the very amount of shares up here. We actually only have 2% left all the way up here, but it was a good trade. And at the end of the day, it's just showing you when you're right, you can have these big wins and these decent days. So, you know, stay with it today, man. Today we're 4 wins, 1 loss. It's going to be a good day. And as you had mentioned before, I don't know if this is true for you or not, but for me today, my only losing stock, which is the TQs, which is actually, I'm not embarrassed to show this. I'm actually proud to show this. Like, we at least had this bottom, but we had stopped out. I'm more embarrassed that we don't have this long. So like I said, for me, my biggest losing stock is actually underneath. So for example, I've only lost, let's just say $30 on TQQs, but then every other stock that I've made money on is higher than that $30. So we'll have four stocks that are highest than our biggest loser. All right, so I think that that's the way that I'm going to try to trade this. And like, for example, Tesla right now is, and again, I'm just talking about myself. Tesla right now, it is 5 times the loser that I have on SMCI, on TQs. So that's the difference there. Apple's only double, or almost double, or more than double the loss, but still, that should be better because we should have more shares up there. All right, my stops are already in right now. I don't know, man. We'll talk about maybe who's reporting soon. I know you're in AMD.
I see a few people asking about things that are reporting. I think the biggest names are going to be, I think Reddit. Well, look, obviously, everything that reports that moves. There's a lot of big companies reporting tonight. Reddit, Robinhood are a couple of really big ones. AppLovin, those are probably the big 3. We'll go into that in a quick little second. Well, maybe a little bit later. It's actually 3 o'clock now. But I did get into AMD on that reversion, so got in at 40 and 40. I have 2 fills, 40 and 41. So why does it, my price is actually, 42 and 43. My price is actually 42 and a half. It's not 42. I don't know why. It's so weird. I actually noticed this. When I have a blended half price, it'll like randomly sometimes round up or down. Like my price is 42 and a half. I have a 42 and a 43 fill. So it doesn't even make any sense. But my stop is underneath 30s. My first out was at 1-to-1, and we'll play it into the high of the day, revert in, revert out. BlackBerry's not doing anything. It's exactly, I almost typed in BBAI, which would have been a typo. So we did this trend break, and it hasn't broken the prior high. There's only ever 2 outs. If you break the trend, I'm either going to go with the high of the day or the local high. I tend to prefer the local high. Sometimes I've talked to Obi about this. He likes the high of the day. I tend to think like if it gets and breaks this, I'm not holding it into there where you're likely to have a breakout trade and a little bit of extra slippage, and especially in the afternoon. So for me, when it breaks this trend, closes under, I give it to the local top there at 81, right? So we'll risk about 7 pennies on that, and then we'll try to get some out into VWAP if it comes into the downside. BBAI has not broken $10 yet for everybody out there that isn't tracking the stock. It's still higher lows, all that good stuff, super strong stock, has yet to break the $10 level. There is some, like I said, there's some size there. I feel like it's going to be a breakout trade, at least one worth taking a shot at. I would just always prefer dip buys. Palantir is still looking pretty good. If there's anything else you guys want us to look at, I'm still in the same 3. Nothing's blowing up on the trade rate. I think it's weird. Like, I'll show you, like I'm still sitting in this Intel, but it just showed, now all of a sudden it's one of the top ones, and it's really not doing anything. You know, like this is what or get off the pot. Either break the top or break this stop underneath. So yeah, we're just sort of sitting in this one. It was much better at the 21 level because it accelerated off of that price. Oh, there was one mistake on Intel. Uh-oh. I'll show you the obvious, and it's sort of obvious when you look at it. There's the prior high, so that's where we like to execute. There's the low, that's where we execute. Look where this double bottom is, right on afternoon resistance. Intel was perfectly technical today. The highs, the lower high, and the low were all perfect long executions for you if you took them. So when it did this higher low, it was almost perfect. Resistance to support. I think it's the easiest sort of way to view charts because it's just telling you where all the cool prices are that everyone else likes, and then you just kind of join them if you can. But you want to join at least one of those, right? Like you gotta, I don't know the reason, right 11 o'clock. Yeah, I can't say I wasn't sitting here for those. I was. It was the morning show. Should have had both, or at least one of those 2. I don't know about both. Should have had at least one of those 2. BlackBerry is moving higher. My stop is here at 81. So if it gets to 82, I'm out. If it breaks lower into VWAP, I'm only bidding into 563. And at that point, and the reason I'm bidding into 563 and not into VWAP currently, and I'd have more than half of it out at that point, is go back 2 days, and that's the prior high. So I have bids into that level. If it takes that out, then I think it could accelerate into VWAP. So it's kind of a binary trade for me there. I always zoom it out, and I do have a bad job of saying, oh, look at these bids. Why would you not bid into VWAP? Well, zoom out, that's why. So pretty simple on BlackBerry.
I really like what Neil does there by putting the line there on Intel to show like sort of the trend and levels breaking and things like that. That's something that I need. That might be able to keep us into the trades a little bit longer or give you a defined out.
It cuts both ways.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
What I found is early on, I'll trail out of things and I'll look back and it's like Alibaba.
We talk about the TQs.
No, it cuts both ways because I'll trend out of things all the time. Yesterday's a better. Today it's not a good example on Alibaba.
Tesla's coming back.
Yesterday was a good example on Alibaba. Like I trailed out of Alibaba, and it was not the best looking entry point. Okay. Can we come to my chart for a second? Because I know what you're getting at, but to me it's a work in progress. Because I trended out of Alibaba here, only to then miss a re-entry right back into the highs. Like it was just not. I didn't think it was the right time to be getting out of the stock. It was still holding higher lows on VWAP, and we had a really good price. It was still in the money. Why do I need to get all of it out there? What I should have done, hindsight being 2020, is if it breaks that trend line, you just get out half instead of getting out all, which I am apt to do. If you fail a high break and break the trend, I get out of all of it. I should have gotten out a half here yesterday, and then if you miss the VWAP, who cares? It goes back to the high. Anyways.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that's, and I just want to talk about our outs now. It's 3:15. We do have the imbalances coming up, obviously, at 3:50. So that'll be something, and we'll talk more about those imbalances as we go. So I've just changed my test. So all I'm doing is really trying to ride this 200 period, but it's been a fun ride. It's never even come close to violating it at all. But again, you can just use this as your target. It looks great today, and I feel like maybe we should have. So someone asking in the chat what my lines are there. I want to call you out where it was, but oh, here it is, right? What's up, Todd Edwards? I feel like we've seen you before for sure. All right, tell you what moving averages I use. Yeah, so great question, and here comes hopefully a decent answer. All right, so what I'm using right now is just the 50-period moving average. I use simple moving averages. We just did a video on EMAs. EMAs are also very, very good trading tools as well. They'll just give you a difference of the closing trade. On a 1-minute chart, it's not going to be that much difference between an SMA and an EMA. But at the end of the day, that's a 50-period is, I don't know if the color comes across on, looks like purple or pink. There's breaking news coming up, so get ready for that. And then there's green is the 200-period moving average. Let me know, Ramin. And then VWAP, okay, not yet, so there it is. VWAP right there is blue. So blue or purple VWAP, 250. And we've sort of coined, we didn't coin anything. We sort of had started using this. I was using the 50-period moving average pretty much religiously on the daily chart. And then I was like, let me see what this looks like on a 1-minute chart. And it's been good. Like, look at Tesla right there breaking through 400. Please, 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 Sabrina Carpenter, go over to Adara.
Keep an eye on Robinhood here. Not only do they report in less than an hour here, I believe their ETA is 4:05, but Robinhood also getting a bit of volume to the downside, seeing apparently that Kalshi, the prediction market, has now added a second broker partner. Initially, they were only partnered with Robinhood. Now they're also partnered with Webull. So Robinhood now not the only partner here of Kalshi, getting a little bit of a move to the downside that was already pretty much bounced. Also worth noting, your Sharif mentioned this headline earlier today. It's not new, but I'm seeing it circulate on social media now. Apple apparently going to be bringing Apple TV Plus to Android phones, as reported by Bloomberg. Back to you.
Boom. Yeah, that's huge. Okay, I didn't even realize that. And we are in Apple. So, all right. All right. So, yeah, yesterday, the move that I made in the middle of the day, we talked about that. I still have I'm still well in Palantir, but we did trim some yesterday at 114. And the reason why we did that was I was just wondering about its extension here, and I don't want to necessarily get out of it. We talked about a PE in the 500 level, in the 500 mark. And it did drip down yesterday, came into this 112 area. We got out at 114. I think it was I think it was just 114. I put the offer out at, it got filled. It might have been 114 and a quarter, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's making new highs right there. But I actually did something that I don't normally do, and that is I switched it over and bought Tesla. So I put some of that money into Tesla yesterday at 330, a little bit below 330, and that's been working out for us. And I just wanted to say that Tesla, I really like the stock. I just think it has to get away from some of the sort of political opinions surrounding the stock, and it's his fault. The guy was pretty much unhinged at some of the things, in my opinion, that he was doing, but he's very excited, and it's just the relationship, right? We've seen stocks get hit before on political views. It's obviously this guy's in bed with Trump, and it is what it is. So I just think that that's going to be there. I like it for what it means moving forward. Again, I don't know. I like the robo-taxi game. I'm in Uber for basically the same reason. I think they can play nice together. And I think Tesla, in a couple months, is going to release basically Waymo. And Waymo's already in there. We don't have it here, but I assume that those of you in San Fran and in Austin and things like that, you can already get a driverless taxi.
Yeah.
I already have friends that have done that in San Francisco, and it's just Waymo, and they pick them up in Teslas, to be honest with you, and other cars as well. So I believe other cars. At the end of the day, that's all that I think is going to get released. And when that does get released, I think it's a little bit of a bump for the stock. I don't know when that happens, but I think that's going to be pretty cool. So that would be something. And then full self-drive, he's promised it to go out to every single car they've made. I know that hasn't been necessarily true. They have to have some updates there. I don't remember, like, when did he wear? I don't ever remember Donald Trump wearing those glasses. Like, that's not.
No.
Hit that again. Because now he has, like, the royal blue suit.
No,
he's always wearing the red tie.
That's from before.
That's like in a. Oh, that's when he was on SNL.
Oh, yeah, that's a. Yeah, that's.
Oh, he's doing Hotline.
That's a while ago.
Oh, man.
That's
okay.
yeah, we should refresh that.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I mean, that's funny anyway.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of jokes.
Okay, so yeah, and then now obviously with the, I think the Doge, that makes sense to me. I mean, I think that no matter what business you're in, you're always looking for efficiencies and try to improve on that. So we'll see if that is exactly what happens to the Department of Government Efficiencies.
Not the
But today, man, and most days, we celebrating Elon Musk around here, baby, because there goes Tesla again. I mentioned to you yesterday that we had our best day of the month, maybe of the year. That was on Tesla. And Neil, today we put it up again. So we're just going to go back-to-back huge days there on Tesla. And we did it yesterday. We did it today. Yesterday we did it short. Today we did it long. The day before that was short as well. So there it is. I will buy a Tesla because of Elon. See, so people in the chat are saying that. And we know people that are the complete opposite. It's just, I think that's just a mess right now. And once that gets all figured out, like I wonder if Tesla would be maybe even higher if the Democrats had won, to be honest with you, because then you're not worried about all this. We've almost round-tripped Tesla.
I don't know about that, though. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, Tesla's almost back. Like, it needs to get down here. Like, this is the election bump, 280, 260, right? So you're still a ways away from that. The market has been going up. I don't know if the market would be where it is if the Democrats had won, but I don't need to make that decision because they did not. And the market is upside right now and breaking, not today, but getting close to breaking all-time highs. So, yeah, we're pretty happy, man. I checked the account today. It's right there. And yeah, everything's going well. I just would like Google to go a little bit higher, and then we could be happy.
The only thing I'm upset with recently, on the August drop, remember August 6th? I bought two stocks on August 6th in my personal account. One of them was obviously great, which was Meta. The other one? Microsoft.
Yeah, that's a disappointment.
That was the one, and my entire logic
Wait a second.
at the time when you're gonna see. At the time when I did it, I was like, I'll buy one, and then Microsoft's gonna be like the safer of. I don't know why I thought that in my head. It seemed good in my head. Should have just put it all into Meta.
Still up though.
No, it's opportunity cost. Microsoft absolutely sucks. Microsoft has been compared to Tesla's been worse, obviously, as a Mag 7 name. Maybe we should be talking about Broadcom, but Microsoft has. Whoops, that's still my e-signal. Microsoft has stunk. So yeah, while it's in the money from the August lows, and by the way, you weren't getting these bottoms, like you're getting kind of like up here. It's barely in the money. It never went more than 10%. It can't seem to get off the schneid. You're holding on to 400, but that's literally all you're doing here with Microsoft. It's just a dog right now relative to the other Mag 7 names. And what I fear is if the market rolls over, like Microsoft might find itself back in like the mid 300s. Like I don't know what's wrong with the stock recently. I guess they're just not monetizing enough of AI in Office, which, anybody use Office? I have no idea. Like, is anybody even using those tools?
Nope.
I don't know anybody that is. And
they have such a small investment in ChatGPT as well and OpenAI. It's like, it's not even. Anyways, I still
you also have some cloud. Like, look, all the big cloud names have been sort of talking. A little bit of some of the cloud names have been having the big ones, anyways. A little bit of decline in their growth, so that's normal. But you're not seeing Amazon get punished for that very much. And they're doing.
The thing is like it goes in ebbs and flows. Like Microsoft will be the next one.
Thanks.
You know, it's like
Well, today's
Google
that
was
one.
down, it was the next one. Then earnings happened, and it was Quadunk, and then so on and so forth.
I might just sell it, to be honest with you.
Palantir is still the next one. You guys can get that if you want. No, I don't know about that. It's pretty high up right there. All right, breaking news with Adara.
Actually, no breaking news, but it's really funny that right now you guys are talking about Microsoft and OpenAI because I actually just finished this graphic for TTV Research contextualizing how, I guess, the stock price has ebbed and flowed since they began investing in OpenAI. This first investment was announced in Q3 2019. By the way, the stock price is just at the price at the end of each quarter. So starts investing in 2019, announces another investment, rumored at around $2 billion in Q1 2021. Then we really start ramping things up here, interestingly enough, after the launch of ChatGPT at the end of 2022. So after that, we get a multi-year, multi-billion-dollar investment, rumored at around $10 billion from Microsoft. And then, of course, we have at the end of 2023, the drama with OpenAI CEO Sam Altman briefly being ousted from the company and then rejoining the company. Lots of really interesting stuff. You can check this out on X at TTV Research. I have a lot of fun graphics I'm trying to put out every single day. But yeah, funny. Did we just get this posted? Pretty timely here with regards to that conversation about these companies. Back to you.
I love those. Absolutely love them. Those infographics. That's sort of the thing.
Yeah,
Like,
be huge. Wicked job.
you know, ultimately, yeah.
Wicked
great job.
awesome, eh?
Wicked awesome. Who says that?
I don't know. Me. No, somebody I've.
A Boston thing?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a Boston.
Yes, it's a Boston.
Yeah, it's probably, you know what? It's probably Goodwill Hunting is what I'm thinking about it. Nvidia's starting to accelerate a little bit here. Why is Nvidia decide to accelerate and AMD decides, hey, let's just go 10 cents at a time. Like it just went 110.40 to 111.75. It pulls back 70 cents and then spends the rest of this time going very slightly to the upside here on AMD. It is a strong one. Well, if I show you the daily chart, it's a strong one today. AMD is still in the penalty box, and I believe until it breaks, you can actually see the 50 period now because this trend line and the 50 period are finally coinciding together. I think if this breaks at 50, it looks a little bit better, but yeah, it's strong just now. This stock's still under a tremendous amount of pressure. Lower highs, lower lows, all that same stuff here in AMD. I think there's going to be a great swing trade on this stock at some point. But in order for that to happen, you've got to break this trend. I want no part of it. It's outside of a day trade until it breaks this trend. I've been saying that for months now. Ideally, it goes all the way to 90 before it does it. That would be perfect. And then breaks the trend to the upside. I'll like it even more if it does that.
Yeah, that was the thing about Intel. I feel like I bought it a little bit earlier, a little bit too early, but we've been rewarded with this name. We bought Intel for the very first time down here at $19.80. And I'd said that we would get something out if it went to $22. But I looked at the account. It's, 10% is fine, but we could get more than that. Like, what about 25 on Intel? So I think like that would be a good spot there. And like Neil said, it's like it's opportunity cost. Like for me, it's like, sure, Baba's gone up and back down again. But like for me, like the names that like I got out there and then the money that we had made, went into work, into other things. And then when it gets back up to the upside, sure, it's there. I've had lots of stocks like this where they do this and I don't do anything about it and then finally get out when this happens and then it continues to go higher. So I think it's always smart to think about support and resistance levels. And that's why the last stock that I was just looking at there with Intel, of course, was what I was getting at is they're both not the same, but like if you played last time from here up here, well, that's great and it's worth celebrating and we talk about celebrating your wins, but it did fall all the way back down. So it's like it does give you an opportunity to either get out and then reinvest same capital, same stock, or get out of something, which is what I'll probably plan on doing maybe tomorrow, maybe by the end of the week. Let's see where Intel is. But getting out of some, like maybe 25%, and then either holding that for a pullback in, putting it to work somewhere else, buying an ETF, things like that so that you are still around. And I mean, if you like the space, you can always slip into like a SOXL or Intel has been kicked out of the Dow, but I was going to say you could throw it into the similar space or get into something either a little less aggressive like the NASDAQ, so you're still exposed to that. All right, and then just quickly again, to face Slappa. So we just did it again right there, and it was right at the top one more time. So there's the out. Again, if you guys, we were able to get it at 15s right there. It's still in the pocket if you want it. Take a little piece right now on Tesla. We're getting lighter and lighter, obviously. It's 3:30 right now, and our day is already here. It's, like I'd mentioned, it's actually a bigger day than yesterday. So we're just chilled out about it. We're happy that we have the wins, but we're not necessarily going to. We've already talked about it enough. So those are those trades. Let's just try to move on to something else. You're okay. So you just got out of 2 positions. So you're probably,
yeah. Just very quickly here, Vic A, Nvidia, absolutely correct. I'm going to move that onto another chart just so we can. It's actually going right now. Intel broke support, so we got been holding on to this trade. Like this wasn't a new trade. This was It's not VWAP, but I think it didn't matter. The buy had more to do with the 2180 level. And I saw someone in the chat saying Intel moves like Pfizer. When it does, maybe you don't want to trade it. The last 2 days, Intel's had over 5%, and it's not gapping up 5%. It's trading range 5%. So I don't know how long that's going to last because that's not usually what it does. Oops. But for the last couple of days, it has. And if it breaks, it's above the 250 period moving average. It's got a breakout overhead resistance. It's one of the reasons I didn't want to buy it above that 22 level. But this breaks, I think you got a nice little room. Well, the other day, I think back when it was here the last time, the 200 period was at like 25, 26. Now it's actually underneath $25. But same thing. I think you got room to 25 here, and I want to look long. As long as it's in this nice little upward channel, I think you're away from shorting Intel at every opportunity, and you're starting to buy this thing off the 50 period moving average and all those higher lows. Because like 5% move is a 5% move. At some point, it's going to go back to doing 1% a day, and that's when you want to get the you-know-what out of Dodge. AMD, remember I showed you it couldn't go more than 10 cents, so no real follow-through. I'll end up paying fees on this trade. We did take a couple of legs out, but it's not moving, and my stop wasn't going to move it. There's no reason. It wasn't a reason to average into it either because there's no action right now. So it ended up going sideways after what I thought was a much better move, at least initially. Like, I like the fact that it was going crazy, maybe a little meme crazy, pull back, let's do the reversion, see if you can't just get back to the high of the day, but AMD just didn't have enough legs in it. BBAI, I could still take the 10 break, but it's like 330 now. It's decelerating in terms of volume a little bit, but it's still near enough the highs that you could get a late break. I wouldn't want it at like 350 or anything. You know, there's always a limit to when I do not want to take a breakout trade, and most of it has to do with imbalance. If I think a stock could have an imbalance, I don't want to take a breakout right in front of the imbalance, because then you just get extra slippage if it doesn't work, and your risk to reward isn't what you think it is. It's much different buying a dip or selling in front of resistance when there's an imbalance, where I know there's going to be liquidity on the other side of it. So BBAI got to do this break sooner or later, sooner rather than later, or we don't take it.
So yeah, people asking about me selling Tesla. Yeah, 344 break. We have less and less now on this name, so we've done pretty good just to sit here in it, and we're going to watch out for that. Actually, I don't want to make this too big here. Just want to find out. We just tweeted out here what we're expecting today. So there's the trade desk today. That's going to be an interesting name, obviously, to trade as we look to see what's going on. Bros, I think, is cool. We've watched out for Starbucks here a little bit, so Bros will come reporting today. Right now as well. Applied move 14% on Bros. Nicely done there. If we look over, and we just put it over here so we can see the daily. So again, well off, a little bit of a retracement back. Looks very, very similar to me than Starbucks. We got a huge move on Dutch Bros. Wow, congratulations. This is what I'm saying about how it's like tech is one thing, and there's many other plays where you can have these kind of moves, sans everything else, right? I mean, it's just like, I'm just obsessed with tech. Doesn't mean that everybody else is. All right, Robinhood. I mean, Adara's dropped some stories today about Robinhood and Kalshi, so there's going to be news on that. We'll hear if they talk about that. As far as their report is concerned, the implied move on Robinhood over 12%. Again, well extended. So far, I don't know if they're going to beat or what, but I don't think any of these are looking great right now, as they're all up. So they're almost priced for perfection, in my opinion, so far. Cisco. Reddit would be another one that I'm obviously concerned with. I'm not in it, but I'd like to be in this name. Reddit, another name that went out at like $40 or $60 on IPO and has just absolutely been a monster to the upside. And that implied move over 15%. So that should be really exciting.
So
I mean,
high.
you want to talk about making money in places. Like this one, anyone could have had this. Sure, we'll talk about Palantir and this and that. But this is from March. So less than a year ago, this name was $40. You know, now it's $220. And like, I thought Reddit was an old story, like when they IPO'd. Like, I'm like, Reddit, like, you know, but obviously they've made me look wrong. And I not that I didn't like it as a stock, but I don't use it. I still don't really use it, but it has been a good news source. A lot of people like Reddit and it's working out. But there's another example of something that can work for you that's not like the Mag 7 or some of these typical names. So look out for that. And again, we have a good example with Hood too, right? Like, I mean, that's not your typical finance company, but they've really had that move. Tesla right there. Again, man, we'll props it up, but there's the drop through the 200 period. Small piece left on Tesla now into that 2%. Apple is still $6 in the money, so we're still holding on to net 13, but at the end of the day, this is continuous. This is continuing to go. I'm going to change this now, 236.50, 236.40. That's the 50 period. Let's just get out and just top it off, man. Like, oh, I'm exhausted. This has been such a fun day. That BBAI does not come back in, so we don't hit that. I'm going to change my stops on
I
Apple.
don't think it's going to break out anymore.
And I do the trader salute to all of you guys out there.
Yeah, BBI just did another pullback. I think it might be a tomorrow thing for this $10 level unless something changes rapido on BBAI
Rapido.
and it doesn't feel like it's going to be that moment. I think Nvidia might be a little bit more interesting going into the close. There are some early looks, but it's all the usual suspects that don't necessarily move anything. Like FXI, which I know 2 million is a lot, but we've seen it before. The last time it was here, it did absolutely nothing. Intel, like that's from the morning, so you kind of look at the time here. Visa always pairs off Schwab. That'll pair off as well. So anything over 1 million, probably not going to be that big of a deal, but you could see some kind of surprises, although Nvidia wouldn't be a surprise. I would think today might be a day that you could see maybe an SMCI. Who knows? Even a small imbalance on SMCI would get a little bit interesting. I feel like that stock, I don't know, I want it to break 41. Like, look at the resistance on this thing at $41. Just can't seem to do it. It's right back into the lows. It was a huge mistake to have gotten away from the short. Like I said, I broke a rule. Lower highs, broke down. I don't even remember why I liked going long here. I can make an argument for getting out, but I can't make an argument for going long there. Broke the trend, lower highs. Right now, SMCI feels like it's a little bit of a weak stock. Maybe watch out for this tomorrow. There is a pretty sizable gap underneath $39 on SMCI. It should go on radar. If it loses the bid here, in all of this strength, I'm just shocked that SMCI isn't doing much more, unfortunately. It's kind of a weird one here today. Blackberry is exactly where it was the last time I looked. It refuses to drop. It refuses to break. It broke trend. It refuses to break the high. I think it got 1 cent away from this higher low, and now you're just sort of hanging out. If I stare at it, it'll actually do something. But that's pretty simple. If it breaks the high, we're just going to get out of the trade, risk that 7 pennies, and then move on to the next, which I'm kind of hoping can still be BBAI.
Yep, 340 right now. I mean, I feel like, again, let's just props it up because there's SMCI 41 right here. We had it written as long, but the minute that didn't happen, then it becomes that short. So we nailed the level, SMCI. Glad Neil pointed that out. And again, SMCI will be PNL 3 today. And I went long on it, and we were able to still capture enough profit because, again, I'll be trading, like much more aggressively, obviously off the open. And there was a great SMCI trade, buy, boom. Right, so you're going to see like mine and Neil's charts are always going to be completely different. Like his SMCI chart is in and out, like real quick. We're going to hold to try to get a little bit differently there. But I think it was really choppy in the middle of the day. So I think those were good outs there. You don't necessarily, that's why I'm saying like right off the open, you got to be careful about what you're doing. And it's a completely different risk parameter at the open and even into the close, like even right now, you know, like look what Tesla's doing. You know, like we have that 2% on right now on Tesla. So here we go. Breaking news right now with Adara. Let's go.
So keep an eye here. Charles Gasparino here from Fox Business basically posting here on X. This is just getting circulated now, but he posted it 2 minutes ago. Apparently, Elon Musk has told people, unclear which people, that he plans to spend the next 4 months working on Doge. So it seems like his priorities are, at least right now, with the Department of Government Efficiency. Apparently, he's aiming to cut $2 trillion from the budget through Doge. And once Doge's goals are met, he wants to see inflation drop to 2%. So apparently here, Elon Musk's lofty Doge goals are going to keep him occupied for at least 4 months. Guys, back to you.
Not the first that has tried this. Just in terms of, you know, like drastic cutting to the U.S. budget, it's like more power to them. I think ultimately, you know, I'm of the economic camp that deficits and money creation and borrowing has more to do with inflation than some other factors. But so I'm kind of with it. I think it makes sense to get a little bit more thrifty. I just wonder if they're going to be able to accomplish what they set out to, and then Elon's taking, look what that headline is doing this into Tesla. Like, you've got to be kidding me. It's not bringing the market down, but it's certainly bringing Tesla right back into VWAP here very, very quickly. If it can bounce, you know what? No. Last time it just trended down. So forget about looking at VWAP in there. If anything, I think this might be an opportunity if it bounces back into prior support. Look for a rollover. I don't want to short bottoms, not when a stock is above VWAP. That would be breaking a rule. I pretty much would never do that. But I don't like that setup. Yeah, now it's starting to bring things in. Like the NASDAQ, by the way, the NASDAQ's doing this, but it's like slowly starting to accelerate going into these imbalances. 8 minutes to go. So I think you got to be at least a little bit picky. And I don't want to catch these bottoms here. It was a falling knife when these types of headlines went out before, and it didn't really bounce until you'd made some fresh lows. So until it gets to a support level, I'm going to back off this one a little bit. Angelo in the chat, that's a lot of stocks. What about Rigetti, SMR, ARM, and RR? Don't know about RR. ARM is one of the stocks that I bought when we had the DeepSeek. I bought the Qs and I bought the ARM on the DeepSeek. What I can tell you for sure about Rigetti is, remember this time yesterday? The 50-period moving average on Rigetti. If you like an indicator, make sure your stock is respecting it. There's the 50-period. It bounced the 50-period today. It was 1070. This went down to 1065, and that's Rigetti. Now, was I trading Rigetti today? No, because I was trading Intel today. Like, the reason I'm not in Rigetti is because I was doing that on Intel. So you've got to pick and choose. Seriously, Intel? I just got trailed out of this. What the heck just happened to Intel? I just trailed out of this silly thing, and it just made a fresh high. So apparently this is a very bullish stock that it can break support and then minutes later be right back at the high of the day. So that's a little bit annoying. But yeah, it just goes to show. Somehow this is one of the stronger stocks out there. As the market just dropped because of that Tesla headline, and I have no idea why Intel just broke the high of the day. That's pretty intense. All right, so here comes VWAP here on Intel. Oh, sorry. We'll just talk about Intel. VWAP in here on Tesla, as you guys can see. Elon focusing on Doge for the next 4 months. See how much the market loves that?
Well, yeah. Will you take a look at that? I mean, this is why we are. Okay, I said we would talk like this, but this is why we are who we are, because you have to be a risk manager. And we talk about that over and over and over again. So we have, I said, less than that 2% left of Tesla. So this ain't hurting one bit. In fact, I'm buying this dip right now. We already know this about Elon. I'm buying this dip right here. If it breaks VWAP, we're out. That's 339. You want to see how simple the trading can be, guys? All right, so let's just do it right now. Could be a loser. Let's just zoom this out just a little bit. We don't necessarily have to use exactly VWAP again because it is that level, but watch, here we go. So that 339 break, if it does that, we will get out, okay? And then we'll just deal it after that. So 339, so there's a nice little dip buy. for us. Where did we get long again? We got long 36, no, not 36. Sorry. Oh, we just got out of our Apple trade. That's what it was. So 338. This looks like it's going to break now. So we're going to go put, whoops. All right, well, there it goes. So it just broke. I'm going to get back in quickly there. That did break. I didn't even get to put my stop in. 338.74. If it breaks that, we're going to get out right there on Tesla. So let's have a quick look to see what winds up happening now on TSLA. We did get stopped out of a little bit there, but now we just punched back into what we got. So we bought 339.36s. I guess it must have broke 339 there, so we did get stopped out of a little piece, but we're back into it right now. So let's wait to see what happens now for Tesla. Okay, here it goes. So it's going to start to get ramped up. Remember, Adara brings us this news like as soon as it happens, and then like Main Street media will eventually pick it up. So, I could see this being a negative story. Obviously, Tesla's down now $8 in a straight line. So this is not a great trading advice to go long right now.
Why is it bringing Nvidia down? Like it doesn't make.
This brings the market down.
I know. It's like
this is what it is. But
like Nvidia was just.
We just got stopped out of Apple, but Apple's been great.
That's what I'm saying. Like Apple. It's completely unrelated. It's just a technical thing, Tesla being part of the index. So I'm going to look for a curl on Nvidia at VWAP. All right, so this will be, let me get into it. There's only 4 minutes to go till the imbalances come in. Nvidia pretty much will have an imbalance every single day of a couple of million shares. Minimum 1.5 million, maybe 2 million share imbalance on Nvidia, which means very, very tight stop, because if it comes out of sell imbalance, the spike is minimum 50 pennies. And you know who gets that? The algos get that. So if you think that if you think you want to have a stop down here, when the imbalances come out, you might get rinsed into like 75. So tight stop on Nvidia. It just doesn't make. It's not, it's a Tesla story. It's not an Nvidia story or a market story. Was that?
No, I mean, some things are just speechless. I mean, there goes Tesla. So we just take $1 on it, and now we'll wait to see. So I think this is worth scalping. We talked about that. I didn't think this was like the wisest trade to try to catch that falling knife, but we will. Obviously, as Neil and I talk about it, we just made a video, celebrate your wins. So there it goes, man. We will take $1 out on Tesla. Now wait. We still have just. I don't know if I have over half or under half because we did get in and out there, but we have roughly half left on this. I'm going to take another piece right here at 70 if we can get it, because it didn't break 340. I thought 340 could have been broken there. I am nervous because this is a red story for sure, so we could still break lower on Tesla. There it goes right now. Here it goes, so watch out. A couple more pennies lower, we're out. I think it was 75. Oh, does not hit there. All right, we should look at this, man. It's just going through a lot of volume right now, Tesla. Can we get something out in the 30s maybe and just say whatever to this? All right, so we almost got stopped out there. I almost have to see if my order's there, so I don't know why that didn't, okay, there. Did we get stopped out there? No, we actually took the offer. Okay, so we were close to getting stopped out there, just didn't fill. 338.75 break, so let's take advantage of that and now go back up to the upside here. And we got that 30 fill, so now we're getting lighter and lighter on Tesla. I don't even really want to play with this, to be honest with you. But guess what? There it is again, Neil. We just sort of undercover right now, put up another big day. Lyft is actually PL2 now on the day. So Tesla's going to carry the day right here for the show. Then Lyft will be number 2, and Apple, well, actually, they're both right there. So I don't know what your best stock of the day is here, but we've got 3 or 4 of them that are really starting to go for us right now. That Lyft was huge. We talked about it. We'll sit in front of VWAP and see if we get that play. So there it is again, right there for us on Lyft. It looks like here comes Tesla again. There it goes. Okay, so Tesla finally breaks to the downside. You could see, man, pretty choppy here. This is pretty typical of how I want to trade when there's news. So in and out, give it a shot right there. Keep that feather in your cap, man. The big day is still there. We have an hour and a half, a minute and a half
90
left.
seconds.
Yeah, until the imbalances.
Well, I mean, Intel did back-to-back good moves we're able to catch, so that'll be my best one. I had Lyft as well. I didn't realize Lyft actually made a second salvo, because Lyft did that early reversion, and then it did a late one as well, so that's a great look. Actually, yeah, it didn't go back to it when it broke higher. So Nvidia is bouncing off of VWAP with 90 seconds. Why am I sitting on the bid? I didn't get the fill down here at 10s, so I'm just going to tighten up my stop. Because in 1 minute you're going to have the imbalances, and now I want to make sure we preserve that it can't turn into a red name. If we break VWAP, I'll just get out. Simple as that. If we go underneath VWAP, I'm out. Otherwise, I'm holding to the local high. It's a simple bounce, like technically from there to there, and that's it. And the bounce can be a different story here on Nvidia. Probably a bunch of things just bounced. Like the futures actually just held out there. So kind of the logic simply that why would Nvidia be down on that other than just sympathy? Look for that revert off of VWAP. It was the only stock I looked at that was at VWAP in the moment. And with 20 seconds to go till the imbalances, now we'll look to see how big the Nvidia imbalance will be, in which direction. Probably 1.5 to 2 million is my guess, because that's what's been pretty much every other day this week. And I feel like it was a sell yesterday, but I could be wrong about that. You know what? Palantir actually did not end up breaking away.
We just made the wrong trade here with Apple. I mean, there the imbalances are out. I'll just talk about it just real quick. Like, so we got out of Apple, then Apple went down. We were buying this bottom in Tesla, but Tesla kept going. Apple retraced all the way back up. So there it goes again. There's the Nvidia 1.28 million for the sell on that one. Apple also with a sell. These aren't affecting the stocks whatsoever. Tesla, that may have just hit that. Again, it probably wasn't a sell to begin with, but obviously as they lose that, wow. Like, this is like NFT worthy, maybe. Like, the fact that we got out there and then just did this just to show, like, you got to have some kind of risk management, because there it goes to the downside. And again, I get people tweeting at all the time, like, I just lost everything. This is how that doesn't happen. You know, like, I'm at the highest spot I've been at all day right now. And part of that is because we cashed out. We had cashed out of Tesla. We gave some back right there because everything was unrealized, but we didn't give back that much. And then the Apple cash out right there puts us over the top. Oh, yeah, it wasn't that. My bad. It was this. It was Lyft. We just were looking at Fannie Mae there. We didn't even have a trade there. Dara brought us that news earlier on Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. It was actually the Lyft trade, actually. That's the face slapper right there. So again, you want to talk about, Neil talks about this. He has his note here. We can go review it if you want as well. But SMCI, right? Top stock for us today. Number one on the sticky note. Tesla, the number one stock today on the sticky note. Lyft, the number two stock today on the sticky note. The other one, Alibaba, which I don't know if you're up or down on it, but I know you traded it. So there you go, man. That is what it is. We're just going to wrap up
2 days in a row, but yesterday was way better.
So you're up on Alibaba. So that's good.
But if I showed you the chart, I'm not happy with it at all. No, but I just have to cancel some orders.
When are we?
I was expecting two really big deletes and sell imbalances, which I was offering a lot of shares on, and they did not come out as sell.
Yeah, okay.
So we're just going to go ahead and cancel. Actually, one of them didn't. So like kind of a nothing burger. So by the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about, like sometimes you'll have like major deals that close. Stocks getting deleted from the index, you look to take a lot of shares for like 1 or 2 cents. But when they don't come out sell, well, you probably don't want the short. Nvidia did trail out. You saw that 1 million sell imbalance. That was enough. It was actually cruising, but this is why you tighten up the stop. It's held VWAP at least for now, but you're not going to get that follow through unless it comes out of buy. It's kind of like a free roll there. Like if it starts going in your favor, it comes out of buy, it takes you into the high. Instead, the market is reverting back to the downside. No, all I was getting at with Alibaba is, oh wow, Baba really pulled back. No, all I'm getting at with Alibaba is I had the 15 revert, but when it lost VWAP, I got out, which is fine. This is a really bad missed entry point because that's resistance into support in an upward trending stock. It's that simple. You want to have those longs. Like you got to have them. Intel's not a New York stock. You got to have them. It's the same reason why. Like here, it's like I tried Intel at 2180, didn't hold originally, get back in at that same level. Alibaba gave you that same thing. And why is Intel going higher when the market just pulled back? Yeah, like trail out of Intel, and that was a buying opportunity. So Intel now up 7%. The stock is on one right now. Whether you like it or not, a lot of people don't like it. Certainly, something's going on with it the last couple of days. This is one that I didn't look at in the chip space, and I only remembered it now. Micron was down 5 points, and it managed to hold right on the line at prior support. So look at the consolidation on Micron. There's the 50 period on Micron. There's the high at like 96.7. In a couple of days, this looks like it could be a breakout trade. Just keep in mind, if you take any trades on Micron, see what's happening at 110 to 115. Yeah, somebody's selling a lot of shares there. So any longs on this stock, profit taking at 110. But I noticed that today when it had this little bottoming tail candle, ooh baby, breakout potentially through 97 on Micron, coming up a little bit sooner rather than later. That's a stock that'll move when you're not expecting it to. Many, many times, kind of like Intel today.
Yeah, well, today we were sort of expecting Intel to move, I feel like, because yesterday had such a huge move. So, yeah, really happy with Intel. Wow. All right, so TLT is going to be a buy here as well. It's coming up to 355. We could see a flip over in that. If Tesla flip, oh, there it goes. TLT still, oh, it was a big buy. Now it's a little smaller. Right there, 1.2 million. This never moves, man. This is the Treasury, so maybe we'll show you. Nice move to the downside. Sorry, T-bills, 20-year T-bills. There's Nvidia, and in just a couple seconds, I think this one will flip. So let's just zoom in just a little bit. C4 Nvidia, there it is right here as a sell. There it goes. It's gone. See ya. So nice move up there, 131. There's the flip. We just said it would probably flip. It does do that, I guess. I don't see it anymore. But there's the move to the upside. Good trading if you were long there on Nvidia. There was a couple traders that we'd gotten super chats from and everything that thanked us for explaining how that all works. So we're glad that that worked out again here today for that. And then what else was on here? Hood, okay, with earnings coming. We have Robinhood's coming, AppLovin's coming. Some big stocks here afterwards, including Reddit. We're very excited for that. Don't see Reddit on here at all. Lucid, we got some talk about Lucid and what's that looking like from our side of things. And right now on the market, I mean, I know that Sharif built a car there on the midday. And again, like those levels on Lucid, I don't think the space is the greatest. So we'll have to wait to see there.
I saw a stat that I didn't believe.
Nice little bottom there on Lucid. What was it?
While Sharif, and I don't know if this is true, because while Sharif was building up that car, I'm going to get to the desk right after this to make sure I got to log in actually. While he was building it, the stat was that car probably cost $110,000 and Lucid is making losing over $200,000 per vehicle. I know they're losing on each vehicle. That seems a little high.
No, but it doesn't mean they're losing.
No, I'm just talking. No, I know, but it's just.
No, it's right. Probably right.
I'm surprised it's that bad.
Yeah.
For Lucid, that's why the charts.
It's that bad for Rivian. I mean, you guys are.
No, but Rivian, I've known that for a while. I didn't know that was true of Lucid. Like Rivian, and probably we know how much they're losing per vehicle because of that. But I didn't know if it was that bad for Lucid. I thought.
Other than Chinese, man, no one's making.
No one makes any money
except for
Tesla.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Tesla or China.
So there was one other thing. Oh, BBAI, don't forget about 10 tomorrow. Obviously, it's not going to break 10 today, but BBAI managed to hold on. We keep talking about it. Prior highs, when they get held onto, that means the trend is still good. So BBI holds on to the prior high. It's not going to break 10. Maybe it will in the aftermarket, but it's not going to break 10 anytime in the next couple of minutes here. So, no need to have the breakout trade. But this stock is on an absolute tear. It's ripping faces off. It's in a bit of a squeeze. And you better believe it, when you break levels like 10 and hold above, that's the kind of thing that makes shorts, their pants. Because if you're shorting the last couple of sessions on this thing at like 930, 940, how many of those shorts do you think are like, yeah, but 10 hasn't broken, and this could revert back into $8 or $7 or $6? Let's see what they think about it if this breaks $10 tomorrow, but it has to be tomorrow. I'm going to head on up to the desk. Great day of trading today.
Yeah, man, thanks.
Robinhood, AppLovin, it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, it will be. Excited for Reddit. Okay, so right here, just really quick with only 2 minutes left, we can watch out for these imbalances. I mean, I have Tesla. People wondering what's up. Yeah, Apple running. I mean, there's not much I can do about that one. So today, Tesla, SMCI, Lyft, Apple. So 4, and then the only stock that we missed today, of course, is this long. Right there at 8:30, we had the long. Never been lower than when we got out, basically. And then all the way there to the upside. It's amazing that we could have the kind of day really today and just battle back from that. And we were kind of like ho-humming it, but that could have been a difference maker if it just happened there. But I'm more mad that we don't have that reload. So thanks everybody for joining us here again today. So it's Robinhood after hours. We can just run this down right here. Let's go over it with only a minute left right now. Sticky note, if you're not checking that, whatever, it's up to you. All right, so these are all the charts that I made today. Here we go, after hours today. So it's the Trade Desk, it's AppLovin, it's Bros, it's Cisco, it's Robinhood, it's Fastly, it's Reddit, it's Albemarle as well. So those moves all. And look what we're talking about, 11, 16, 14, 5, 12, 19, 15, and 7. Go find it all there. Oh, what's up? Gato Corps. Hey, where can I learn to trade like you? Watch this. At Trader TV Live. It's really that simple. I mean, we're not allowed to take vacations for reasons. Okay, here we go. As we go, we are getting ready to go. No, we're allowed, of course. Just not encouraged. Okay, here we go. Coming down with the countdown coming in right now. Again, thanks so much for the day, man. It's going to be a big one here into the close. We want to thank all of you for watching and making us the record show that we believe this show deserves, right? And it's has nothing to do with me. It has to do with absolutely everybody else. We want to thank all of you and people like Adara, who's on the bell in 3, 2, and 1. I also want to thank Fabian. I mean, the guy's walking around here. He's chilling out. Really doing a lot of the editing and a lot of the board. Anything else, Fabian? You want to come? Fabian, come take a seat over here. I want everyone to see your pretty face. You want to come over here, Fabian? All right, here we go. And then we'll get over to earnings. Often we talk about Ramin, and I don't think enough people get to see. So Fabian here runs the board, which looks like to me, like I'd have absolutely no idea what's going on over there. How's it going, Fabian? How was your day?
Pretty good.
What is your favorite thing that you do here at Trader TV Live?
I just experience the market with you guys every day.
Experience the market. Give me a play that you're looking at.
Right now?
Yeah.
The S&P 500.
Ooh, yes, sir.
Just buy that.
I like that. Yeah. We've talked a lot about that, about, with age, on your side is time. Mm-hmm. On my side is not. I'm on the second half.
Yeah.
But you are still well on the first half. So keep investing. There we go, everybody. Bringing you the talent behind the show. Thank you so much to Fabian, making a guy like me just look that little bit better or worse. I don't know. But thank you so much, Fabian. Thank you to everybody. See, there we go. Everyone loves this guy. Fabo hair. Uh-oh. They love the hair. All right, it's earnings time. See you, everybody.
They're both wearing red hats, and that's probably why the trade desk just tanked 10%. So if you wear red, this can happen. TTD, the first one's out. The trade desk has fallen off its chair. Yeah, down at $100 as we speak. I don't have the numbers across the board just yet, but suffice to say, it's probably not that great. Let's go to Adara immediately and get the numbers here. First day to report. TTD now down almost 15% here.
I mean, already, just to be clear, Benzinga doesn't have like the actual, okay, we have the summarized numbers, but there is something from the earnings report I want to talk about. They did a beat on earnings per share, 59 cents versus 56 expected, but revenue missed. 741 million versus 758.9 million expected. So 741 versus 758.9 million expected. The pre-tax profit also missed estimates really heftily. They reported 221.6 mil for pre-tax profit. They were looking for 294 mils. So that's a huge miss there. The other thing I think that's worth noting is they even admitted here in their report that they are disappointed they fell short of their own expectations for the quarter. So that's not a great look when you even admit in your report that you're a little cooked. Like Pat Gelsinger was always talking about every quarter was solid, and yet you have Jeff Green, CEO of TTD, being like, yeah, we didn't do that well, guys.
Well, you know what, though? I appreciate the honesty. Like, don't get me started on when the CEO comes out and it's like bad across the board, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm proud. I'm proud of our solid quarter."
Yep.
You're proud of your solid quarter, Pat. When it was, well, anyways, trade desk now down 19%. That's an unnecessary rant, but it is what it is. That's why he's out of the job. Now 19% to the downside, $93. So that's a hefty miss. Pop out the daily, and it's not as if you've got much going on back here, except for this 96 level it's at right now. So underneath that, and you're talking about those August lows at like $75, maybe the 80 level. So if it doesn't bounce here, well, it's going to be trouble for the trade desk. Nasty, nasty move. I mean, you'd much rather look at Fabian's flow, which is impressive. He's got quite the flow down there than this trade desk chart, that's for sure. Although it's dropping the same way that flow drops down Fabian's back. So the first one's out is trade desk. I don't know, Pavan, if it's going to hit $60. That would be insane. It's already down 20%. Like, that's not what's going to happen, I don't think, here. Just to refresh everyone's memory, the expected move here was only 11.5%. Suffice to say, it has been an earnings shock to the downside for the trade desk, almost double the expected move to the downside for them. We're expecting apps at 405. We're also going to get Bros, Cisco, Robinhood. They're coming fast and furious. And then Fastly is the other one at 405. Reddit's supposed to be at 410. So right now, we're 0 for 1 on earnings, and we're about to get a bunch of them in rapid fire. We're going to get 4 major earnings actually in just the next minute. As like I said, it's already starting pretty nastily. What was a good day for the market, you saw right at the end of the day there, a little bit of move down in Tesla, but it does belie the fact that we were so strong after we had that bit of a shock with the CPI number. So trade desk not looking very good here at Era.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad look. And I mean, the thing is, too, is we also got some news on Tesla at the end of the day. In case you missed it and you were like, why did Tesla drop? Basically, what happened was Elon, reportedly, according to Charlie Gasparino of Fox, is apparently going to be focusing for the next 4 months exclusively on his Doge journey. Doge, not the coin, the Department of Government Efficiency that was created by Trump for Elon to head. We're getting a whole bunch more earnings here. Mara scheduling their call, but they're not out right now. We're waiting on Robinhood here. We're going to be waiting on Cisco here. There's quite a few. I'm not seeing any of those numbers out.
Robinhood's already moving. So Hood's just bouncing here. And maybe this fat finger, I have no idea. But we're already up a couple of bucks.
Oh, they got the numbers out for Robinhood.
Yeah, so numbers out on Robinhood. They're breaking to the upside. This is what you want to see. Just got to 58, 59. It's only about 10% move. It was already up on the day. So keep that in mind. It was already up on the day. But Hood doing what you want to see happen here with a big bounce to the upside. It's a blue sky setup for Robinhood. 52-week highs, all that good stuff. You can zoom it out. It's not all-time highs or anything, but a good one for Hood here so far. I'm
not even seeing how this compares to estimates, but right now that's not the point because these numbers alone are outstanding, astounding, whatever word you want to use. Q4 revenues, 115% year-over-year increase, reaching a record $1.01 billion. Q4 net deposits also hitting a record $16 billion. Q4 gold subscribers up 86% year-over-year. Q4 net income up 10 times year-over-year to a record of $9.16 million, or $1.01 per share. That's a crazy look here. And then EBITDA up over 300% year over year. Like, honestly, this is exponential growth. I don't know what else to say. I'm not seeing how it compares to estimates yet, but safe to say, I know at least revenue, we're not expecting $1 billion. So that seems like a beat.
That's a big beat.
We'll have to wait to find out what everything else is.
Big move for Hood, and they're loving they're app loving it because app loving also out. They're up double digits. A little bit of a pullback. You can't make this stuff up. It just pulled back at 420. So AppLovin right to $420, and there is the dip right back into 400. Like, what is it with that level, 420? Like, it's already a double top on the daily for AppLovin. So you failed the fresh break, the fresh high. 6% short float on this name, by the way. So big mover, already had a fantastic last year. I think it could just be technical, the fact that you got to that all-time high and are pulling back. That's the thing about the after hours. That's an obvious place for some people to maybe grab some profits, but AppLovin, so far, so good. Robinhood good, AppLovin as well. And before we get the numbers, and we're going to go back to you for the actual digits, you've also got Bro, 24% to the upside. Dutch Brothers, I guess it's only the trade desk that stinks, and everyone else is fantastic. Dutch Brothers hitting out of the park like Gia, slapping them down the line. She's a lefty, slapping them down the line. The right field line is what I wanted to say there. Sean's daughter plays baseball. Bro. I can say bro for Dutch Bros. I know it's bros, Ramin, it's cool, but bro. No one says bros. Bro. What up, bro? I'd like to say it how I want to say it, Ramin. Dutch Bro, the brothers in the house, as Dutch Bros goes up. It doesn't matter. It's 26% to the upside. It's fabulous. It's not necessarily running into any overhead resistance. I don't know. If you guys can find the resistance on Bros, then your eyes are better than mine, because that looks like a bit of a blue sky setup there. Yeah,
I mean, we'll talk about that in a second. AppLovin first here. They did beat here for Gap. Earnings per share, 173 versus 125. Expected sales of 1.372 billion, also above estimates of 1.264 billion. Much like what we saw with Hood, there's a lot of year-over-year growth. They did have a decline here in their apps revenue, 1% year-over-year, but ad revenue grew 73% year-over-year. Total revenue up 44%. Adjusted advertising EBITDA here up 85%. Apps adjusted EBITDA 27%, adjusted EBITDA as a whole up 78%, net income up a whopping 248%. Their guidance I just saw also beat estimates. A great look for apps. Cisco, I don't know if we've talked about much. That one is not dumping like a truck as far as I can see.
Forget about Cisco because
Reddit?
Reddit is out and Reddit is gone to the downside. Reddit now down Just $30 drop here on Reddit. That's a 15. This isn't even catching up. That's a 15% move. We were expecting exactly 15% on Reddit. So from 220, you guys can do that math. It's obviously made that entire move. The good news for Reddit, it's still on the daily chart looking okay. The 50 period moving average on Reddit's $180. So any bounce in here, holding that 15% implied move, certainly does give you an opportunity for a bit of a bounce. But Reddit not looking good. So far, Bros has been good. Obviously, you guys just saw that. You also saw, I haven't seen Fastly just yet. Robinhood doing okay as well. AppLovin, they're loving it. So it's Robinhood, AppLovin, Dutch Bros, Trade Desk, and Reddit to the downside here, actually continuing to go lower. So 180 on the daily is the 50 period moving average here for Reddit. That would be a likely place where maybe you can catch a bounce. As always, be careful trading the aftermarket. Make sure your broker has, functioning stop orders if you're going to be trading.
Yeah, Reddit beat here. So Q4 revenue, 427.7 mil versus 405.3 mil expected. Earnings of 36 cents per share versus 25 cents per share expected. EBITDA beat here, 154.3 mil versus 128.7 mil expected. They also here had 92.6% gross margin. Daily active unique users up 39% year over year. Revenue up 71% year over year. They did beat revenue estimates as well for Q1 2025. Now we'll look at Cisco as well. Guys, there's a lot of earnings coming here, so we apologize if we missed anything.
Yep.
Tag me in the chat. I'll try my best to get it to you either vocally or just type it in the chat. So Cisco, great look here, 94 cents earnings per share versus 91 expected. Sales of 13.991 bill versus 13.874 bill expected. Guidance in line, but some of the higher ends here are above estimates across the board. Not a bad look at all here for CSCO. Also, guys, keep an eye on Boeing because Donald Trump is talking about Boeing. He said he's not happy with service from Boeing on the planes, referring to Air Force One.
Come on, man. I own Boeing shares, Donald. You don't do that to Boeing.
Boeing was one of my long picks for the year, too.
Boeing, I'm going to show the Boeing chart in a second. It actually was doing really well today. Cisco, by the way, boringly awesome stock lately. And it's another blue sky setup for Cisco. Forget about levels. You got to pull up Fibonacci's. I always say this. You go into a gap, pull up Fibonacci's, look at prior ranges. Like the prior range was 59 to 63, so you've already made that top, $4 to prior range, $4 up here. That makes a heck of a lot of sense sometimes. But, Cisco, fantastic numbers. It's actually holding these highs. But as I said, the prior range for the last month or so has been that $4. That's exactly what you're getting some support just above. Like there's your break. There's your high. If it can hold on to that, I think it looks a little bit better. App obviously looking.
I found
just
what
to
Reddit
recap.
missed on.
You just remember that 420 all-time high on AppLovin? Well, you can forget about that. Now $440 as it's continuing to rush 17% to the upside. Shorts, 6% shortfall for this name is actually a decent size, and they're getting absolutely murked today. As when you're blowing it out like this, I hope the shorts are covering, at least for their sakes. So very good numbers here for App. Very good. Good for Cisco. Not so great for Reddit and Trade Desk. Reddit's trying to bounce here. This is like the third time that it's been able to get back above the 190 level. There's some buyers. There's nothing strong yet. It's just barely bouncing at all off of those lows. Sometimes when a stock is that well, it ran so far, everybody.
Yeah.
Reddit had gone so far. The dip buyers might be a little bit more patient with this than otherwise. That's just part of the story here. Reddit's been a fantastic stock, but sometimes when this happens, you get a bit of a pullback, and they won't buy it up right away.
Yeah, I think too with Reddit, it's worth noting they did actually miss on one metric. So as mentioned, their daily active uniques up year over year, but apparently below analyst estimates. We were looking for 103.8 million active users. We got 101.7. So we actually did have a slight miss there for DAUs, which would explain the drop. Someone was asking me here about MGM earnings. I can give those to you. Really grand look here for MGM. We did have Q4 earnings, 45 cents per share versus 30 cents expected. Another beat on sales, 4.346 bill versus 4.273 bill. We also had Dinkelberg asking to look at the grind chart. Apparently it's been on a run. That one is actually not an earnings name today, but today it had a really nice move. Look here for GRND. I think it's certainly been grinding to the upside for a while. Also, one caution I want to mention with APP. So it is a spready name. And I want to caution, there are some names that trade really well with spread, and there are others that don't intraday. App, you can get great opportunities, but be careful because that thing has a massive spread regularly, and it will wick you out. So be cautious with regards to size. and where you set your stop. That is my quick little caution on APP, especially if you're going to trade it during the morning when there's a little less volatility. Like, make sure you have your volume and make sure you've planned it out, because that thing can be very choppy, and that's my quick word of advice.
Yeah, that's great advice there, I believe in that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Marty, thank you for the super chat. Shout out to you, Marty. Marty McFly down there shorting. You are short, TD. Forget about shorting. You've taken some profit off. What do we think of that chart and potential Max Payne bottom? Thank you so much for the super chat. We appreciate it. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're here for the earnings bonanza. It's a lot of movers today. It wasn't a lot of big index names, but it's a lot of big time movers. Like, you've already taken some profit off. I don't know how much you took off, 10, 20%. Who knows? But when you get this kind of an outsized move, how many times have we seen that relief rally the day after, especially down 25%? There is, if you do, like, it's not a head and shoulders or anything, but if you look at this gap back up, it is 87, 88 into 90. That's a pretty reasonable area where you would look for some support. And if it gets down to $80, I mean, why not hold on to? Usually when you make that kind of a play, I don't swing before earnings, but I can't imagine a situation where I wouldn't want to try to let something ride when you're that deep in the money. It doesn't matter where you're in. You're obviously deep in the money in this particular situation. Usually taking some profit out for what is often an inevitable bounce the next day, which sometimes can be pretty hefty. How many times have we seen the stock, just do one of these bounces on the next day, get back to like a 105 to 110 area, and then you've lost some of that profit. So it's getting into some big spots in the mid-80s to right here, where I would expect there to be some kind of a bid. I'm not saying I'm going to go long it tomorrow, but it's going to be on the radar for an SSR bounce for a lot of day traders. I can promise you that. Shout out to you, Marty. That's a fantastic trade. As much as that's a monster to the downside, AAPL is still a monster to the upside. Now, 420 is the support level as opposed to the resistance. You know it's a strong stock when it gaps up this much, pulls back into what? Stop me if you've heard this before. The prior high in the daily. Pulls into the prior high in the daily. That's 418, that wick. It just held 421, which last I checked is above 418. Simple math. And it's trying to hold on. If it holds on to that all-time high, nasty, nasty for some of the shorts that are there in AppLovin. So that's what it's all about. Obviously, it's not the only names that are reporting that are strong. It's impressive, but bro, now 30% to the upside and holding the highs. Yeah, this is ripping faces off. It's also a 6% short float. I thought this was a bigger short float than 6%.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to look at another source on that. I thought it was double digits.
There's another one here that's worth noting. It's Pegasystems. They're supposed to report tonight. I'm not seeing the earnings from them yet, but the reason I even think Pegasystems is kind of a note is because they are actually one of Dan Ives' top AI plays for this year. So alongside names like Palantir, their PEGA. I'm not seeing the report yet, though, guys.
It's riding lower right now.
Yeah, it's the person who mentioned it. It looks like they have reported. I'm seeing no numbers or no info, but that is, Pegasystems has been on my watch this whole year because it was one of Dan Ives' top AI plays, along with, again, like CRM, Palantir. I think I have a tweet on it on TTV Research like way back.
It's galloping to fresh lows as we speak.
It is. Yeah, that thing cannot fly high right now, that's for sure. I cannot find anything right now, though, with regards to its earnings around 405. It did announce that there's some press release about how their agent experience powers more reliable AI. It's a press release. We're going to have to wait. Albemarle is out, though, according to Darwin. I'm going to take a look here for that. Thank you very much, Darwin. Oh, and they missed.
Little move.
So losses of $1.09 per share versus 70-cent loss expected. Sales also missing, 1.23 bill versus 1.34 bill expected. I'm going to parse through this report to see if there's anything I'm missing here with regards to why this might be up.
The good news, you look, the daily chart might be why the stock is up. Lithium names can get beaten up a little bit, so it could just be a situation where this is a double bottom on Albemarle, and it would have to be abject disaster for it to break. Like, look at the downward trend on this stock. So double bottom, maybe it just doesn't want to go any lower. So miss or no miss, there's often times where it's like it's just not as bad as it was before, and maybe you're catching a bit.
I mean, their net sales dropped 112%.
112%?
Yeah. And their revenue's down 47%.
Oh,
so I think sometimes it just might be as bad as it looks.
You can't sugarcoat that one.
I really can't, unless I'm missing something here.
I was trying to be positive about that. It's up 1%, so forget about that. That's bad. That's really bad. But hey, it didn't make a fresh low. How about that? Always look at the bright side of things here, everybody. It's only up 1%. Those are really bad numbers, and that those are really bad numbers. Reddit's also at the 50-period moving average. So it's right at that 180 level. They're still bleeding down here on Reddit. 16% to the downside. The expected move, just to I think we already said this, but I don't mind repeating myself here on Reddit. The expected move was 15%. It's made that move. It's at the 50 period now. If it's not bouncing here, its last earnings report, it was 42% the move on Reddit. So it can do more than that. Now, that was to the upside, but it can do more than that. So you're right at that 50 on the daily, right back into the 180 level. Let's see if the buyers can finally emerge on this stock. As a little bit of pain here for Reddit is what it is. Sometimes they sell the ones at the highs. And man, I can't believe Albemarle had numbers that bad, and they're still holding on. But Fastly is now...
I think they've been out a while.
They've been out a while? Yeah, you know what? That's my bad. We missed Fastly. That's not good either. It's a $10 stock. This used to be a thing. Now it's
Fastly moving to the downside.
Yeah, it just hasn't been that good stock for a while.
I have the
but we should have got it. It's down 18% here, Fastly. Yuck.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So non-GAAP losses of 3 cents per share versus flat expected. So we're expecting $0.00. We actually lost money. Revenue actually up 2% year over year, and it was a slight beat. Their guidance, though, they're expecting a larger than expected loss per share. Revenue basically in line with estimates. For the whole fiscal year, they also went in line with revenue estimates and a miss on EPS. So that is pretty yuck for both their fiscal 2025 guidance and their Q1 guidance as well. So not a great look, in my opinion, for FSLY. But again, it's not, no such thing as good or bad earnings. It's how the market reacts. If there was such thing as bad earnings, Albemarle's earnings would be bad, but Albemarle's up. So you can't, all you have to do is just see how the market reacts.
Yeah, and so by the way, that saying is a trading saying, meaning, obviously objectively there's such thing as good or bad earnings, but it's a trading saying in that it doesn't matter what you think of the report. To some people, fundamentals are all that matter. To me, I think you should be an investor or a longer-term swing trader if that's your case. Price action is king and ball don't lie. So while you can think whatever you want about Reddit, it's down significantly. You can think whatever you want about LB, it's flat. Fastly, the weekly chart is disgusting. The good news is it's actually above the 50 periods somehow on the weekly. So this is, believe it or not, in a bit of a reversion that maybe because of that, it would be possible for there to be a decent bounce play right in here. But it would need to get back above, like this is $9 in here. It would need to reclaim that $9 level. But it's getting really nasty in a couple of names.
Yeah.
We've talked about that here. Fastly is just one of them. The good news, whoops, that's a daily chart because I went to the weekly. Let's go back to the 1 minute. The good news is Trade Desk has stopped falling. It's now held, it's a lower low, but it's above 90, and it's no longer dropping rapidly. So a bit of stabilization here in the Trade Desk. And then the other name, which is to the downside before we go back over to others, there's a little bit of a bounce here coming in. So buyers, it broke 180 on Reddit, but the buyer is starting to come in here. I saw someone in the chat joking around that maybe the mods are all starting to come in and buy.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Maybe.
That was something I'd heard about too when they IPO'd. We actually have 2 super chats. One about Reddit from Rohit Sharma. $2 super chat, thank you very much. Just saying Reddit, fast climbs lead to hard falls in the market, and you're not wrong. You've seen, if you actually reposted today, you can check it out on X, my graphic showing what SMCI did in 2024. But the reason I bring this up now, because SMCI literally had a massive drop the day that it hit 1,000 and new all-time highs for the first time back in February 2024. So you can check that out on X. Certainly that is the case. Our second super chat here from Nick W, actually first chronologically, but Reddit one I just read here first. Nick W, thank you for the $2 super chat, asking Neil, mind giving a look at ABNB into earnings? And one thing I do want to say about ABNB before we get into the chart is actually, interestingly enough, it's one of the few names on the S&P 500 that's actually down percentage-wise from its IPO. So it has not actually given you any ROI if you got involved from the IPO, which I think is pretty interesting because there's not very many names on the S&P 500 that actually have that. I do a lot of research for TGV research, and that's how I discovered that fact. But yeah, not necessarily, I guess, if you got involved in the IPO, a little bit sus. They had a good move, though, last report, so ABNB.
Well, what I could say about it, I know why. See, what's interesting is that Nick Del, before I even looked at this chart, you send us super chats, and you always look at the same type of breakout play, which is one that I also tend to like. When these stocks have made higher lows and then on the daily chart, and they tend to start breaking away from the 50 or 200 period moving average, and they break a local high. So I knew without looking that Airbnb was going to be that kind of a setup. Shout out to them. I'll be staying in one for spring training in March. We always do. Oh, we're by the beach this time. We're switching it up when we go to spring training this year, and we're staying next to the beach, which is different for us. Usually we stay next to the stadium for watching baseball. But I do see what you're getting at here for Airbnb. What I would say, they report next tomorrow?
They report tomorrow after the close.
McFly, Neil, I'm staring at it. It says February 13th, post-market, right here on my chart. And I'm like, no, I'm literally staring at it. You're before the earnings report. So I get it. To me, if I take a swing trade, which is purely technical like this, part of the reason why I like the trade, if we come to my chart, part of the reason I will like the trade is that you can make this breakout and I would buy it somewhere in here or on this break of like a 142. And then my stop goes underneath this. On earnings, you're going to get a little bit of extra slippage. Because if it does, like if it's bad, like you could rinse through and get like double your normal slippage on the trade because you're making a bet on earnings if you're doing it with shares and not playing options. So I think for myself, I don't like that setup as much. And if it breaks this out, good luck, because if they report well tomorrow, it's just going to gap higher. You won't be able to get that fill, generally speaking. So for myself, I don't like that play. I usually like that kind of a setup, like they report and then they do that setup, or I'm already in it for a week or two and then we get the report, like Snowflake, which was a setup just like this recently. So yeah, I don't necessarily, personally, I don't love it because I don't really have any insight on the numbers, and I think you can just get kind of wicked around. But I think come back tomorrow and you might have, if it's still around the same price level and holds the same area after earnings, then I think it's back on. I just don't like that look going right into the earnings and trying to make a bet on the earnings play. That's not my style, not my cup of tea. Robinhood is everybody's cup of tea, apparently. 17%, fresh highs. So we've got App continuing to go higher. We've got Robinhood, incredibly strong. We've got Dutch Bros, incredibly strong. Unfortunately for Trade Desk and Reddit, it has not been so good. Cisco as well to the upside. That was about 7% to the upside. On Cisco. Stuart asking about Upwork.
Yeah, we have a couple other earnings that just came
Oh yeah,
out here
Upwork
as well.
report. Okay, yeah, not bad. Upwork up 9% here on Upwork. Dara?
Nice. I mean, yeah, I wasn't going to talk about Upwork here. There's a couple more, though. Someone asked about Pegasystems. So PEGA, they did beat here on EPS and on sales, and they're still, I mean, they kind of dropped down a little bit after market, but someone asked about Pegasystems, one of Wedbush's Dan Ives' top AI picks. We also have QS, apparently QuantumScape reported. They were like, oh, you can click on our link on our website to find our earnings, and honestly, that font was very small. I have very bad eyes. I literally manually searched revenue and EPS. I couldn't find anything. So if we see those numbers, I'll let you know for QS. But they have reported. They've just made it a little bit hard for us to actually see this. Then we have QMCO, which is another company with quantum in its name that reported after the bell that actually doesn't do quantum. So QMCO here, this one, Sharif mentioned very spready, and I actually have enjoyed the spread in this one, though I've never traded it. QMCO trying to push it to $26 here. Much larger than expected gap or loss per share for Q4. They're guiding $1.21 to $1.11 loss per share versus 27-cent loss expected. Revenue guidance also missing estimates. And they missed on loss per share here for this quarter, but they did beat on sales. So mixed but mostly negative report for QMCO. But this name is not running on fundamentals. It's running on quantum hype. Though I must stress once again, Quantum Corp, though its name may deceive you, to my knowledge, does not actually do anything in quantum, but they do have a nice little short
happens.
So that's what happened there. If I see QS, I'll put it in the chat, but yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't find anything. Also, Jedi with this
What up, Jedi?
100 DOP super chat, Sun Life Financial, SLF, have any info? I'll look into it now. I also want to mention, someone mentioned our Royal Caribbean. If there's any news on that, I did find it. They raised their dividend by 36%,
Boom.
and they announced a $1 billion buyback. I did drop that info in the chat. SLF, I think, allegedly may be reporting tonight. But I have not seen those numbers yet.
I have not seen the numbers either.
I'm going to confirm that, guys.
Oh, my
Let me take a look here.
my chat just crashed because you guys are absolutely blowing it out. The earnings are so crazy, but my chat, it's back up just now. What I can say about Sun Life is, fun fact, when I was in university, it felt like half the track team at Waterloo worked for Sun Life. It's like accounting and computer science and actuarial sciences were big. So like a bunch of people I knew actually worked at Sun Life and Manulife, good Canadian name. It's not moving a heck of a lot, about 1%. They are reporting tonight, but
5 p.m. Eastern is what.
okay, so 5 p.m. They could sometimes what'll happen is you can get these weird ticks as people kind of position or fat finger thinking earnings are out and people get stopped in and triggered and all that kind of nonsense. So it'll seem like it's moving, but Sun Life not to be till 5 as well. Darth Buddha, coin is tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah, like trust me, if Coinbase was tonight, we would be all over this. Coinbase is tomorrow after the market close. So Coinbase tomorrow after market close, Airbnb tomorrow after market close. But there's so much happening here today. Believe me, there's been no shortage of movers.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people, Reddit being down about 13 points now, holding on to that 180 at least, that's going to be a big one. Obviously, Robinhood, saw in the chat someone saying, can Robinhood get to 70? Maybe not right now with a bit of a pullback here, but Robinhood up double digits, more than double digits. You've had AppLovin up double digits. You've had Dutch Bros up a bajillion%. As far as I'm concerned, that one is going to be a big-time runner. There's a heck of a lot going on this afternoon. I can't believe it's already 4:30.
I know, right? It's been wild.
Wow. Wow, what we were.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a kind of nuts. I know we're going to let things go soon, but I'm just seeing this note here from Dan Ives of Ledbush. This is being reposted by Sawyer Merritt, which is like a pro-Tesla account. I'm guessing this note is not new because usually I find his posts are like at least a couple hours old. But regardless, Wedbush analyst Dan Ives reiterating his $550 price target for Tesla, regardless of the sell-off, saying he basically does not, I guess, rate the sell-off as of right now. I wonder, though, if this note is actually post the rumors that Elon is going to spend more time with Doge because, like I said, knowing that Sawyer Merritt's posts are usually off by a couple hours, I highly doubt that this note came out before, or I guess I highly doubt this note came out after we got that Doge rumor. In case you missed it, Charlie Gasparino saying that Elon Musk has told people that, again, we don't know what people just said, people, that he's going to be spending more time on Doge. Not super surprising given his focus. You can see it on his social media, and you can see it on his presence in the White House, that he's going to be focusing more on Doge right now than necessarily his many other businesses.
And he's got a lot of them.
He does. We have a graphic about them on X at TTP Research. He's so many businesses. He's always been involved in other businesses.
He's a busy man, and when we've seen what happens when he talks about Tesla, when he tweets about it, if he buys another company, it just seems to move the stock. So you've got to always understand that as much as you saw it with Sean's trade. Like it's super deep in the money, and then that's why you had to have trailing stops out there. The second that news hit, it dropped like $9. It's crazy. That's just how it is. But you know how it is around here at this time? It's roll call time, everybody. You know what that means. Get your name in the chat so Adara can read it off rapid fashion. But before you do that, you have to be a subscriber to be in the chat. So hit the like, hit the subscribe. We had record numbers all week. We got to 500,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. Feel like we got to book that Axe store, and we had a little bit of a bubbly yesterday to celebrate. But thank you guys, everybody, for contributing. Thank you so much to Fabian and Ramin on the ones and twos. Thank you to Andre as well on our team. The Bash brothers doing a great job in the midday. My man Sean, Obi, who he hasn't filled in a little bit, but Obi's always here for us. And big shout out to Brennan and Dara on the news desk, making sure we get everything. The fact that we can just go over the price action and you get all the numbers out there so quickly, and getting what the viewers need to understand the fundamentals in earnings season is a big deal. And a big shout out to Bears versus Bulls, the best moderator in the business. You're the absolute best. Let's get the roll call on.
Yeah, thank you so much to everyone for being here. Also, for the people asking about Roku, we don't have any news on it. They don't report until tomorrow after the bell. So Roku down a little bit, but I have no news on it. Also, axe throwing literally scares me because today I injured myself spilling a bottle of water. So I don't even know. Yeah, I want to throw axes, but we got to be real. So shout out to that. Thank you to everyone for getting us to 500,000. Also, thank you to people who follow TTV Research because we just reached 25,000 followers on X. So thank you guys so much for allowing that to happen. Thank you to Bears versus Bulls for everything you do. Shout out Fabian, Ramin, Andre, Neil, Sean. We have Brendan. We have Sharif. We have Joe. We have Obi. We have Apogee King. More on Wall Street. Steve Schlag, Stevenson, Etienne, Grov, Sebastian, T.S. Booger, Andre Popa, Donaire, and Dara, shout out, pretty close name, RD, CPBP, we've got Stuart, Marty, Daryl Flinch, Sebastian, OneCoin1 Trader, Volky, MA, we've got Jai Singh, we have Bears Rules, once again, your life breakthrough coach, we've got Crazy Carl, we've got Staxers, Smoky Love, we have Bearded Warrior, Trades, thank you for you, CJ, Derek Thompson, Marlon B, Tim Snyder, MA, and we've got Dingleberg, Hans Beer, so many people here. Thank you so much to all of you for being here. We'll be back tomorrow with more earnings, more stuff, more things to talk about, and probably more Doge. Or whatever.
There's always something happening in these markets. You saw with the volatility today. You know there's going to be more bangers tomorrow. That's what it's all about. Hey, everybody, we're Trade TV Live. It's only Wednesday. Let's get through this apparent storm tonight here in the GTA, and we'll see you back bright and early at 8:30. Bye, guys.
Is it happening right now?
I don't know, people.